The door to the demon realm opened, and light from another world poured in. With a single step, one would be able to enter another plane and be completely unaffected by the destructive energy. The door to the demon realm opened, and light from another world poured in. With a single step, one would be able to enter another plane and be completely unaffected by the destructive energy. It was also at this moment. A system announcement rang out in Long Fei's mind. The prompt for the task to complete. However, Long Fei didn't even glance at it. At this point in time, any rewards for any quests were no longer important to him. Long Fei, where are you going? Boss, where are you going? Shouldn't we be entering the infernal realm? Everyone looked at Long Fei, who had suddenly turned around. Long Fei did not stop and said, "You guys going first, I'll come later." There was no explanation. However, no one knew how unhappy he was. After turning Sky Envoy upside down, a pair of Golden Armor Bodyguards came along, turning Golden Armor Bodyguard into another Presbyter of God's tribe, turning the entire Presbyter of God's tribe into a plain destruction cannon. It's endless, isn't it? Long Fei was unhappy. There was a raging fire in his heart. If you make me unhappy, then I will make you even more unhappy. Moreover, ever since he had completed 1/7 of the super quest, Long Fei felt that there was a change in his body, and he became even more prone to rage. Facing any matter that he was displeased with, a malicious intent would arise in his heart, a killing intent. He couldn't control this feeling at all. For example, the Devil Gate, just now, if it was not opened, Long Fei would destroy these 2 Devil Gates. Not only that, he would destroy the entire Devil Realm if he could find a chance to do so. At that moment, his heart was filled with killing intent. A killing intent that was not under Long Fei's control. Lucien frowned. He didn't know what Long Fei was planning to do, but at this time, it was to let everyone quickly enter the demon world and say, "Everyone quickly enter! Quick, quick!" Chief Captain also quickly said, "Get the people outside to come in quickly. Quickly, quickly, if we can save more, that will be one." The time was less than 3 minutes. The entire Magic Mountain was packed with people, numbering in the hundreds of millions. To enter the demon world in 3 minutes. There was no time. However, Lucien, the big-sized man, Thin Monkey, Xiao Dai, Kailina, Transformers, and the others did not go in, but chose to maintain the order. If Long Fei did not enter, they would not enter. Hurry up, faster. If not for Long Fei and the others, they would have died a long time ago. Don't stop me. I'll go in. I'll go in. A powerhouse of the Zhen Wu realm rushed forward frantically, as if he had lost his soul. At this moment of life and death, some people revealed their original appearances. At this moment, Transformers pushed him against the wall with one hand and said solemnly, "You will be the last one to go in." No, I'm the powerhouse of the Zhen Wu realm. I want to go in first. I am much stronger than these trash. I should go in first. However, not waiting for him to finish, Transformers directly smashed him onto the ground, releasing a burst of pressure that directly exploded the cultivation level of his entire body. Looking at the dying dog, he said, "Your cultivation has been crippled. You are a true trash, so you're the last to go in." "No." He groaned in pain. Transformers bellowed, "No one has the privilege. Whoever wants to challenge this privilege can come and try it out in front of me." He crushed them with brute force. The entire scene was instantly suppressed. Everyone was shocked. Long Fei walked out of the Magic Mountain and flew up to the summit. Yirong followed behind him and said, "Long Fei, stop it. Let's go. The Devil Gate has already been opened. We don't need to stay any longer." Long Fei did not say a word, but his gaze was fixated on the enormous flame that was getting closer and closer. Destruction energy. He could feel the powerful aura inside. Very strong. The power to grind plains into dust. Long Fei looked at the sky and said solemnly, "If the powerhouse can rule the world, then the powerhouse can kill innocent people." Is this the powerhouse? The powerhouse can already say that the plane of destruction killed billions of lives. This is the powerhouse. Is this what the powerhouse did? Long Fei's pupils contracted as the muscles in the corner of his eyes lightly bulged out a few times. The rage in his heart raged. If Powerhouse was like this, he didn't want to be a powerhouse. Eorong said, "Not all powerhouse are like this, and this is all done by them. Long Fei, there's no time left. Let's hurry up and go." Eorong was very anxious. As they got closer and closer, the Zhenwu continent could no longer take it. God tribe. Can the gods try be like this? Even if you're the overlord and you're the emperor, but does the heavens mean that the gods tribe can ignore life itself? Long Fei enunciated each word. The anger in his heart grew even stronger. Everything that had happened these past few days was branded in Long Fei's heart, and the lives of several billion people disappeared just like that. Eorong said, "Long Fei, this is the way of the world. It can't be changed. You don't matter who it is, it can't be changed. Even if there isn't a god's tribe in the world, it will still be like this." "No," Long Fei said softly, "in my previous life, I could not change the world and could only make the world stronger, but this life is different. I will not allow the world to be insulted as they please. I want to change this world. I want to stomp God's tribe beneath my feet." Eorong said, "I believe you, but it's too late. Long Fei, let's hurry up and leave." It was too late. There was only a minute or so left, and Magic Mountain was still densely packed with people. Too many people. It was impossible to enter the infernal realm in such a short period of time. Most people will die. Most people would disappear along with the Zhenwu continent. Without waiting for Eorong to finish, Long Fei looked at the people who crazily rushed into the entrance of the demon realm, looked at the people who kneeled on the ground and begged the heavens, looked at the people who were crying bitterly, and looked at the people who had despair in their eyes. The corner of his mouth hooked up slightly. "From now on, I will use my entire life to fight against the God's tribe." Finished. Long Fei smiled lightly. As soon as he finished, the aura on Long Fei's body surged. Eorong immediately sensed that something was amiss and shouted out, "Long Fei." The human emperor and Tang Rinja also rushed forward, shouting, "Long Fei." "Boss!" Boom! With a huge tremor in place, Long Fei rose from the ground. His entire body burned with a blood-red light, as if a ball of red flames had charged into the sky. Eorong's expression tightened. He flapped his underworld phoenix wings, wanting to fly up, but was pulled back by the emperor and said, "Don't go." Eorong said, "He will die." Obviously, Long Fei rushed towards the destructive energy cannon. He wanted to buy some time for the people of the Magic Mountain who were still alive. But the red light that erupted from his body was like a myriad of stars. The destructive energy was even more blinding than the sun's rays, and it was even more intense. If he rushed forwards, he would die. Long Fei did not hesitate. Moreover, he had a bold idea. The decaying power could rot and absorb. Could it absorb the destructive energy and then return it to the God's tribe? Thank you for your support. Chapter 2686, More Power. Chapter 2686, More Power in the Sky. Long Fei stood in midair, his eyes looking down at the destructive energy cannon. His eyes turned sinister and the corner of his mouth raised a little. God's tribe is a big mouth? Annihilation plane? Let's see who destroys who then. The aura on Long Fei's body trembled slightly. Buzz. Legacy of the Ming clan, open. Buzz. Decay inheritance, open. With a wave of energy from hand to hand, Long Fei's entire body began to burn. The human emperor's eyes grew tight. The inheritance of the Ming clan, the inheritance of corruption, and the power of two ancient inheritances. This kid, Eorong shouted loudly, "Long Fei, come down." Long Fei. Boss. Quick, quick. Long Fei did not move. The human emperor looked at Long Fei, who was in the sky, and thought to himself, as expected of Long Zhanting's son, he's a bastard. Kid, it's all up to you. Finished. The human emperor grabbed Eorong and said with a heavy voice, "Let's go." Eorong said, "Let me go, I won't go with Long Fei. Even if we die together with him." Tang Rinja also looked at the human emperor and said, "Damn fatty, if you want to leave, that's fine." The human emperor said, This is the power of the highest realm of the plane's destruction canon. If you follow him, you will only be sending yourself to die. The human emperor did not continue speaking. Instead, his voice changed as he asked, "Do you want him to die for nothing? Do you know why he did it? For you. Who do you think he is doing this for? The genuine force, for the hundreds of millions of humans in the Magic Mountain. If you're all dead, then what he did would be meaningless. Let's go." The human emperor's voice sunk again, and he didn't care too much about it. The aura of the human emperor on his body exploded and instantly crushed them, lifting them up and sending them to the entrance of the demon realm. "Let's go." The human emperor shouted, but he did not leave. He looked at Long Fei, who was in the air, and muttered, "I have said it before, no matter what, I will extradite you this time. This is what I promised your father." Huff! The human emperor lightly breathed out before sitting down on his knees. The aura on his body began to surge and circulate as well. Streams of aura began to spread out from him. Quick, quick, quick. Quick, quick, quick. Quick, quick, quick. There were too many people at the entrance of the demon world. The entrance to the demon world was too small, and it was impossible for several 100 million people to enter within a few minutes. Many people at the back of the line looked at the golden flames which had enveloped the entire Zhenwu continent. They too felt despair. His eyes were dull and lifeless. There was no hope. The sky turned into golden flames. Gales of wind raged on the surface. The heat waves attacked one after another. The Zhenwu continent turned into a gigantic barbecue furnace. "I'm going to die. I'm going to die." No one can oppose the god's tribe. No one can stand against God. No one can stand against the heavens. God's tribe, fuck your ancestors. "I'm going to die. Countless people began to shout out powerlessly. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sky split open, and the laws of the plane of Zhenwu continent began to crack. The entire plane was in a mess, and at the same time, the continent's atmosphere started to burn. The destructive energy cannon was about to hit the plane. The golden flames had already enveloped Zhenwu continent. It was as if they were completely wrapped up. As long as they hit it, the plane would instantly disappear, and everything on the surface would instantly evaporate. Just as the destructive energy cannon was about to break through the atmosphere, Long Fei's body moved once again. The center of the human emperor's brows tightened. This was the power of the Annihilation Inheritance. Ancient Inheritance's strength was ranked in the top 100. Incomparable savagery. Even if Long Fei has a few power of Ancient Inheritance now, but he hadn't even used his strength yet, and had only cultivated it to the bare skin. How could he be considered an opponent? The human emperor was worried, but he did not stop them. This was Long Fei's path. Even if he tried to stop him, it would be to no avail. Long Fei roared out in rage, his entire body completely submerged into the golden flames. Clenching his fists, all the blood scales on his body exploded, making him look like a blood Qilin. So what if it's the heavens? So what if you're a god? I will trample them all to death. Long Fei was furious. The moment he rushed into the golden flames, his body seemed to be on the verge of destruction. Not afraid, not boring. He also used the energy in his body to burst out crazily, causing the underworld fire to burn. The flow of the decaying power. Long Fei didn't know how to defend against this kind of power, but he was constantly releasing the power in his body to form a wall. Then he would take it head-on. The underworld fire-blocked. The crazy absorption of decaying power. Long Fei used his own body to carry it. Blood gushed out from his body. The speed at which the destructive energy cannon was falling slowed down by quite a bit. But it was useless. Even if the speed of decline was any slower, the Zhenwu continent would definitely be wiped out. Long Fei's ancient inheritance was simply not strong enough. Boom! Long Fei's body crazily exploded. Underworld fire, charge. Boom! The underworld fire could not defend itself and was constantly being destroyed. Long Fei moved under the dragon-shaped mark on his right arm and said solemnly, "Aren't you awesome? Use your power. Come on. If you can't explode with your true strength, then you're going to be awesome." Long Fei shouted. In the dragon-shaped mark space, the huge dragon head was slightly raised. Then, the destructive power within Long Fei's body was instantly crushed, and at that moment, the decaying power frantically absorbed all of the destructive power within, and in that instant absorbed all of the destructive power from the cannon. The golden flames that had been covering the entire plane suddenly disappeared. It was all absorbed. In that instant, this power, everyone on board the demon god was completely stupefied. The human emperor was shocked. How is that possible? That's impossible. Long Fei was the same as well. Damn, so Lousy is actually this strong, huh? He was also shocked. Just one wave of power had absorbed the destructive energy cannon, and Long Fei could clearly feel the destructive energy cannon's power in his hands. It was in his body. This feeling, it was an indescribable feeling of comfort. Hee hee. Long Fei laughed excitedly. The human emperor immediately said, Don't. Long Fei said, You dare strike me? Now it's my turn to hit you. F***CK. Long Fei cursed. Then, Long Fei moved, looking at the gigantic dragon head of the dragon-shaped mark. He said, If you want to do it, then do it big. Come, then use a little more strength. Roar. The dragon head slightly moved. His power poured in. The chi of the destruction energy cannon suddenly moved. Following that, Long Fei became excited. He faced towards the sky, the trajectory of the destruction energy cannon just now. Lock on. Bang. Chapter 2687. Emperor Xian made his move. Chapter 2687. Emperor Xian made his move. Long Fei was a madman. You're going to hit me? Are you heaven? Are you a god? You are the chief sovereign? Don't give me a chance. If there's a chance, I don't care what you are, I will still blast you. He was like this now. The god's tribe wanted to destroy the Zhenwu continent. Then it was as if the entire god's tribe had been destroyed. A tooth for a tooth. Blood for blood. Give the destruction cannon back. Ha ha! Long Fei moved both of his fists like a cannon. He used all his strength in the air. Boom! The destructive energy that he had absorbed was all blasted out in an instant. Furthermore, the power was even stronger than before because the dragon's head was infused with power. Seeing that something that was like a giant sun had been released, the entire sky began to shine with a brilliant light. Countless planes began to tremble in fear. What's going on? Why? A destructive energy cannon shot out from the lower plane? How is that possible? What happened? Could it be that there is still someone who dares to go against the god's tribe? Who is this destructive energy cannon? When countless powerhouse saw the destructive energy cannon flying across their plane, they relaxed and started discussing. The Zhenwu continent cheered. It's him. Ha ha. Boss Long Fei is almighty and domineering for 10,000 years. Long live Long Fei. Long live Long Fei. Master Long Fei is really going to explode. God's tribe should be trembling now, right? The people of Zhenwu continent were cheering. As long as the plane was not destroyed, they would have enough time. When Long Fei saw the smiles on their faces, he was truly very happy in his heart. However, the human emperor frowned and said, Brat, you've stirred up a great disaster. Long Fei said fearlessly, If I did that, then so be it. Why can't I kill him just because the god's tribe can wipe out the lower planes? The human emperor said, You may put it that way, but the god's tribe is the absolute ruler of the entire universal realm. For countless years, only he has been able to wipe out the other planes. Moreover, the energy cannon that you released would not even be able to hit God's tribe. It would only be used to blast the surface of universal realm. No matter what kind of power God's tribe has, it will be impossible to break through. Once your identity is confirmed, you will be hunted down by people from the universal boundary. You will become the public enemy of the 10,000 realms, and it will be difficult for you to move a single step. Even if you are reborn, even if you change your appearance, even if you have changed everything, once your identity is confirmed, you can be found anywhere. Kid, the God's tribe is not as simple as you think it is. Even 1 trillion years of time isn't as weak as you think it is," the human emperor said. He didn't think that. He wanted to stop it, but he couldn't. When this cannon shot out, not only would it not harm God's tribe, it would also send him into hell that he would never be able to recover from. Because this was a world under the control of the God's tribe. Whether it was the universal realm or the ancient world, everyone under the universal realm was controlled by the God's tribe. So becoming enemies with the God's tribe would become the enemy of the myriad realms. He would be chased wherever he went. There would be no place to hide. This was what the human emperor was worried about. Long Fei said lightly, "The common enemy of 10,000 realms? To be hunted down by 10,000 worlds? Ha ha! If you have the guts, come at me. I have never been afraid." This was something that Long Fei could only wish for. The human emperor's heart tightened. He felt that he couldn't communicate with Long Fei at all. But at this point, he couldn't change anything and said, "Long Fei, now that the Zhenwu continent's plane is lifted, quickly enter the demon realm. If you enter another plane from the demon realm, the best course of action is to enter the demon realm, not waiting for him to finish." The sky trembled slightly. Long Fei's eyes shone with a bright light, and he became excited. "It's about to explode. Ha ha. It's about to explode." At this moment, God's tribe shrine. In the main hall of the shrine, the presbyter of God's tribes were furious. "A mere lower plane dares to resist? Then I'll let you know what the power of the God's tribe is." At this time, a voice came from outside the hall, reporting to my lord, "The destruction cannon have been filled up." The elder said in a loud voice, "Blast it." "Yes, sir." The plane destruction cannon was launched again. Boom, boom, boom. 3 consecutive attacks, heavily smashing down. It was also at this moment that the destructive energy Long Fei released slightly moved, and the energy released by the dragon head inside the energy started to transform. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The moment they collided, the destructive energy that Long Fei released was like a gluttonous snake, swallowing the 3 destructive energy cannons in an instant. He had absorbed all of the power. "Ha ha ha! Come on, come on! Your father won't kill you this time. Ha ha!" Long Fei was wild with excitement, and in that moment, he also followed the trajectory of the destructive energy cannon and rushed toward shrine. It was like an enormous scorching sun. The entire shrine was trembling slightly. The hidden lock between the brows of the elders in the hall, just what kind of power was it? How could this be? The Annihilation Inheritance is a power inheritance that is in the top 100 of the ancient inheritance. Why would it be devoured? Is it stronger than the Annihilation Inheritance? Again, I can't do it. Boom, boom, boom. A string of destructive energy shot down like a string of pearls from a cannon. However, no matter how many destruction cannons attacked, they were all engulfed and absorbed, and it was getting bigger and bigger. In the end, directly occupying half of the shrine, it covered up the sun and the sky. Such a scene. The descendant of God's tribes, elders, wise men, and sages all flew out one after another. Their eyebrows were all locked together, as they had never experienced such a phenomenon before. There had never been such power. No one had ever come here before, not even the Ming clan back then. Universal Realm also started to tremble slightly. Is he trying to destroy the God's tribe? Holy **T. What kind of power is this? My God, is this the power of the lower realm? This is probably the power released by the ancient world, right? What should we do now? Destruction cannon is useless. Look at it. It's getting stronger and stronger. It's trying to devour the entire God's tribe. The tens of thousands of planes of the universal realm were shaking. It was also at this time, in the depths of the divine arts, hall of Emperor Xian. Boom! A shadow rose into the air and turned into a palm that covered the sky. Emperor Xian. It's the Emperor Xian. It's Lord Emperor Xian. Lord Emperor Xian has come out. The figure of the Emperor Xian moved. His eyes turned sinister as he stared at the huge flame. From between his brows, an imprint of power surged out. Since you have chosen to be enemies with the God's tribe, then you better enjoy being hunted down for eternity. Boom! The huge palm flipped and slapped. An enormous flame exploded outwards, resounding once more in the entire Zhenwu continent. Chapter 2688 Myriad Realms Public Enemy. Chapter 2688 Myriad Realms Public Enemy. Rumble. The 10,000 worlds trembled as the void exploded. Thick bolts of lightning continued to strike from the void of darkness. Long Fei tensed up. At that moment, a different scene appeared in Long Fei's memories. Image of the guillotine. He was about to break through the 10th heaven, but was suppressed by the ladder in one move. Moreover, it was only an illusion of the Emperor Xian. How strong was this? And now, it was another image of the Emperor Xian. One palm was able to suppress the huge energy and instantly push back. The Emperor Xian was too fierce. Long Fei's pupils suddenly shrank. Just as the energy was released from between the brows of the Emperor Xian's illusion, his mind suddenly sank as a sharp pain arose. Next, up. The piercing pain spread throughout his entire body. His clothes were burnt to ashes. And then, numerous marks appeared on his body, like branding iron. The marks were all over his body, and even on his face. Seeing that, the human emperor could not help but tremble. God's tribe's assassin seal. Too late. Too late. It's over, it's all over. Emperor Xian has made his move. Emperor Xian has made his move. The human emperor's face was pale, and his body was trembling. He could not even stand steadily. He knew what the imprint on Long Fei's body meant, because Long Fei was locked on. Right now, as long as he was in the universal boundary, no matter how strong he was, as long as he used his power, he would be hunted down. Once he had the power, the mark would appear on his body. As long as the imprint on his body was discovered, the powers within the descendant of God's tribe or those within the God tribe would do their best to chase after him. In this instant, the God's tribe began a fight with Long Fei. Long Fei had also become the public enemy of all other realms. Even if he didn't die, he would be hunted down for generations. Even if he died, he would still be hunted down. Long Fei's entire body felt a sharp pain, and he dropped from the sky, rolling around on the ground. It was like a slave imprint. However, the slave's mark was only one place, and his entire body was covered with it. His face, forehead, arms, chest, back, feet, palm, and the back of his hand. All marks. Pain. Incomparable pain. Although the Emperor Xian didn't see Long Fei and didn't appear in the Zhenwu continent, he was able to use the power that he released to lock on a Long Fei. His voice exploded in the air above Zhenwu continent. A mere ant dares to oppose me? I will let you know what heavenly might and what divine might are. As long as it's under the jurisdiction of the God's tribe, I will make you wish you were dead. Emperor Xian's voice continuously sounded in the air above the Zhenwu continent. The same thing was also happening in the 10,000 worlds. Countless people kneeled on the ground. Countless people were trembling in fear. No one dared to challenge the God's tribe. Emperor Xian did not even give the order. Countless of powerhouse were stirred, wishing that they could immediately rush to Zhenwu continent and offer Long Fei's head to him. You know, whoever could kill Long Fei would be rewarded by the Emperor Xian. If not for the destructive power exploding in the Zhenwu continent once again, countless of powerhouse would have fallen to this world already. Long Fei rolled on the ground in pain and asked, "How is the might of the heavens? So what if it was godly? As long as I'm alive, I will come to your shrine sooner or later, and sooner or later, I will trample all over your so-called might of heaven and your so-called might of God." Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sky darkened. Long Fei felt as if all the auras in his body had been locked up, making him feel incomparable discomfort. At this moment, a beam of golden light shot down from the dark sky. It was incomparably huge and was much larger than the golden light by 100 times, radiating from Zhenwu continent. Destruction energy. His strength was countless times stronger than before. Seeing that, the human emperor's heart tensed up. Seeing Long Fei rolling on the ground, the human emperor clenched his teeth and said solemnly, "I, Lord Fatty, am willing to throw caution to the wind." He landed in front of Long Fei and picked him up from the ground. The moment he touched Long Fei, the human emperor's aura would also be locked on. Now, he would also be hunted down. There was no way back to Human Emperor Island. Universal Realm could not go back. The human emperor hesitated, but in the end, he still chose Long Fei. It was not because of the power within Long Fei's body, but because he and Long Zhanting were brothers who had lived their lives and sons of brothers. He had to protect even at the risk of his life. He withstood it. The human emperor moved and leaped, flying straight towards the entrance of the demon realm. At this time, the people in Magic Mountain were already in chaos. There was still a large number of people who hadn't entered yet. Seeing the human emperor rushing over with Long Fei, the Transformers roared and said, "All of you get out of the way for this old man." Rumble! With 3 heads and 6 arms, the aura of the Emperor Zhenwu's realm instantly knocked everyone away. The Transformers did not care about all that. No one's life was more important than Long Fei's. It was also at this time, the 2 demonic gates began to shrink and truly close. This meant that the demon god didn't want to provoke Long Fei anymore. It was too dangerous. This was risking the life of the entire demon realm. He couldn't afford to gamble. They would rather live on the sly than to be hunted down by the 10,000 worlds. Creak, creak. Creak, creak, creak. Inside the demon god's main hall, the demon god said lightly, "I'm sorry, I can't use the lives of everyone in the demon world to make this bet. Before, we didn't find out who you were, so we still have a chance, but now, you no longer have a chance. I can't take the risk anymore." The devil gate was about to close. It's about to close. It's about to close. Quickly enter. Seeing that, Transformers tightened his eyebrows and suddenly moved the staff in his hand. A burst of energy pouring in, he stood in the middle and extended his arms. Supporting the 2 demon gates, he said to the human emperor, "Quickly enter." The big guy went up too. Fin Monkey also went forward. Kai Lina and the rest rushed forward. However, the power of the Devil Gate was simply too great, and it continued to close. The human emperor leaped up as an aura burst forth from his body. The human emperor's flame exploded into a roar. "Demon God, open the door for me." The demon god ignored him. The human emperor carried Long Fei as they entered the gates of hell, but they did not enter the infernal realm. This was the entrance to the infernal realm, but there was another door in the infernal realm. The door was completely closed. In other words, Long Fei and the rest were at the 2 doors directly, which meant that they were inside the spatial crack. At the other end, Yurong, Tang Renjia, Xiao Dai, Sha Yu, and the others were shouting, but their voices could not reach them. "Open the door. Hurry up. Faster. Demon God, I beg of you." 17th son of Devil kneeled on the ground. However, the demonic god's eyes were ice cold as he thought to himself, "I'm sorry, I can't bet the lives of all the devils on this. I'm sorry." He closed his eyes. Long Fei's entire body's energy was locked in place. He felt as if his body was being held by the imprint power released by the Emperor Xian's, causing him to feel incomparable discomfort. It was also at this time the destructive energy descended. The entire Zhenwu continent was quickly turned into fine powder. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2689, Space and Time, Chaotic Current. Chapter 2689, Space and Time, Chaotic Current. Everyone had their own choices. Everyone had their own difficulties. The demon god's abandonment of Long Fei at this critical moment was something that he had no other choice. Before, when Long Fei's identity was not revealed, he could still do whatever Long Fei wanted, but now, Long Fei had already been locked on by the Emperor Xian. His body was covered with marks. Once Long Fei entered the demon world, then the demon world would be quickly destroyed, just like the Zhenwu continent. As a demon god, he had to consider the people of the demon realm. Thus, he could only close his eyes and choose to give up. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The plane crumbled, and as soon as it touched the golden light of annihilation, it would be reduced to dust. The people of Magic Mountain were screaming in pain. "Help! Save us! Save us!" Kneeling on the floor, begging, there was nothing to be done. Nothing can change. Rumble. Tens of millions of people were turned to dust. Even their primordial spirits and souls were instantly destroyed. Even ghosts could not do it. In this second, rumble, the golden light enveloped the entire plane, and in the next moment, the entire plane disappeared. The Zhenwu continent was directly killed. There wasn't even a speck of dust in the entire plane. This destructive power was simply too powerful. Within the spatial rift, Tang Renjie quickly replied, "No, the Zhenwu continent is gone." Transformers asked, "What do we do now? We can't go in, and we can't go out now. We can only die in the intermediate level of this spatial rift." He looked at the human emperor. The human emperor surveyed his surroundings before speaking. "It's fine if the spatial rifts are stable. If the spatial turbulence isn't stable, I'm afraid none of you will be able to withstand it." Tang Renjie said, "Fatty, stop talking nonsense. Aren't you an expert from Universal Realm? You have a way, don't you? It doesn't matter if we die or not. The key is the boss. He must live." Transformers immediately said, "Yes, boss must survive." The thin monkey said to the big-sized man, "We can trade with our lives as long as boss is alive." The human emperor looked at the dying Long Fei. On Long Fei's forehead was a brand. God Tri-brand. All of the power in his body was sealed. If he wanted to obtain power, he would need to release the seal on his body. The sooner the better. The human emperor said, "A spatial rift is the boundary between a plane and a plane. As long as you break through it, you might be able to enter another plane. Of course, it is also possible that we will enter the land of death. Everything is unknown." Tang Renjie replied, "That's easy to deal with. My nose is very powerful. As long as I open the spatial crack, I can immediately feel if it's safe inside. Fatty, you can begin." The best option would be to enter the demon realm and let that devil god see what the F***ck it is. Closing the gate at such a critical moment nearly caused them to die on the outside. A ball of fire pressed down from Tang Renjie's heart. The human emperor rolled his eyes. "Do you think that you can open it just because you said so? The laws of space and time are chaotic. There are no rules to be found. It's not that simple." Even the human emperor, even if he was a powerhouse who inherited an ancient power, it would be extremely difficult for him to find the entrance to the dimensional rift. Long Fei's face turned pale white. He coughed and said, "Don't worry about me." The human emperor said, "Don't speak. Keep your strength at bay. Kid, you can't die. I've placed all of the pressure on you from the back half of the mountain." It was the same for the human emperor. He would be hunted down by the God's tribe of a million realm. There will be no peace. Unless Long Fei was able to stomp God's tribe beneath his feet that day, but is that possible? Long Wutian had even become a lackey in the God's tribe. Long Zhanting, even more so, did not know where he was imprisoned. All the families in the ancient world were completely stomped by the God's tribe. Even if Long Fei became extremely strong, there was no chance at all. The human emperor said with a deep voice, "Follow me closely." And then, the human emperor's body slightly moved. Chua! With a single step, the human emperor's fire bloomed in the void like a lotus flower. Tang Renjie and the rest quickly followed him. Walala! Walala! Streaks of light flashed, and the violent wind within the crevices continued to wreak havoc. Suddenly, the human emperor's eyes narrowed before lowering his body. "Everyone be careful. The spatial and temporal turbulence is coming. You must endure it and not be swept away by it." Before he could finish his words, a series of roars came from all directions. It was like a hurricane. It exploded in a frenzy. The human emperor protected Long Fei and stared at him. Other than Long Fei, the only thing he was worried about was Tang Renjie. If he had gone to the primordial god battle dimension, then nothing would have happened to Tang Renjie. Although he had been reborn, Tang Renjie did not recognize him anymore. Walala! Walala! The strong wind was like sharp blades, bringing with it the law energies that were in chaos. In that moment, the thin monkey was swept up. The big guy saw the situation and rushed forward. "Don't!" The human emperor shouted anxiously. However, not waiting for him to finish, the two of them were sucked into the turbulence, and their bodies were like leaves, unable to be controlled at all. Chaotic flows rolled out, and it looked like he was about to be sucked into time and space. Tang Renjia's eyes darkened. At this time, he could not care so much. He pounced forward and grabbed the big-sized man. "Brother, we've caught him." The big-sized man and thin monkey were swaying violently in the turbulence. Tang Renjia's body was also losing control nonstop and was on the verge of collapsing. "Hold on tight. Don't let go," Tang Renjia said in a heavy tone. "Just take it with you." However, Thin Monkey smiled. "Take good care of boss." He abruptly let go. Shwa! It instantly disappeared into space and time. It was also at this time. The big guy turned his head and smiled. "Take good care of the boss." Boom! He loosened his grip as well, and his entire body was sucked into the flow of time and space. He was also swept away by the turbulence, disappearing in an instant. Tang Renjia anxiously shouted, "No!" He was about to catch up. Seeing that, the human emperor turned to Long Fei in a rush. He stepped out and pulled Tang Renjia and said solemnly, "They are no longer able to return." Any part of it could hide a killing intent. It was also possible that they had entered into another plane. No one could say for sure. Tang Renjia's body sank a little when the human emperor stopped him. Long Fei leaned on one side and watched everything that was happening in front of him, and it was as if his heart was being torn apart as all the strength in his body was being released. However, every time it attacked, a formless energy would return the seal to it. "I don't believe it." Anger raged in his heart. Anger. Long Fei also clenched his fists tightly and shouted, "Break for me. I'm going to melt you up. I'm going to melt you up." Jin Wu continent was exterminated. Tens of millions of lives were instantly taken. Brothers were killed. The woman had also left, disappearing without a trace. The anger in Long Fei's heart never disappeared. Now, watching the big-sized man and the thin monkey being swept into the turbulence, Long Fei's heart bellowed angrily. Wong! Red light burst out from his body. The blood-colored scales appeared once again, as streams of power that were imprinted with seal surged through his entire body. His blood veins and veins swelled up, as his entire person entered a berserk state. Long Fei roared crazily. Poochie! The scales on his right arm had broken through and were tinged with blood. Following that, all of the scales on his body burst apart, and Long Fei's entire body became like a person who had crawled up from a pool of blood. The blood-red scales flickered. The bloody energy surged and raged. Tang Renjia was excited. "You want to break the brand?" The human emperor said. "The breaking through the seal is useless. It is only sealing the power in his body. Once you use your power, these imprints will appear." Now he's like a damned man. And the human emperor's eyes turned into one with worry, and he said, "Long Fei, now is not the time to break through the seal. Stop quickly." Long Fei completely ignored him. Previously, the scales on his right arm had only appeared, but now his entire body scales were revealed. His power was surging crazily as well. With the dragon-shaped mark S on his right arm as the center, a ray of red light burst out of Long Fei's eyes as the blood-colored energy on his entire body exploded. Break! Boom! The mark on his forehead disappeared. Boom! The imprint on his face disappeared. Boom! Boom, boom, boom. One imprint after another disappeared onto the surface of Long Fei's skin, and the seal became weaker and weaker. Half a minute later, all of the imprints on Long Fei's body had been broken. The power began to wreak havoc. Long Fei's eyes were also bloodshot. "Emperor Xian, F***CK, your ancestors." A deep roar rang out. The entire spatial rift trembled and shook. Tang Renjia said excitedly, "Haha, boss is truly awesome, breaking all the imprints on the seal." The human emperor looked around at the chaotic space and shouted, "Be careful, brat," not waiting for him to finish. The turbulent space-time swirled up, forming a huge wave 30,000 meters long. Before Long Fei could react, it came crashing down heavily. Long Fei's pupils fiercely changed into a blood-red color. "You're courting death." The mysterious power that he had obtained from Eorong's body exploded out in a flash, and the aura on Long Fei's body abruptly changed, changing into another person. Looking at the huge wave formed by the spatial rifts, he narrowed his eyes. With a flip of his right hand, a wave of power slashed down. Boom! The massive wave was instantly reduced to dust. The spatial rift was unable to withstand the force that was constantly exploding. The spatial rifts within 1,000,000 kilometers began to crack apart. This power, too fierce. However, suddenly, a voice rang out. It was also Long Fei's own voice. Where did you go? Where did you go when you were facing the power of the Emperor Xian? Who the F *CK are you putting on airs for now? Boom! The power within Long Fei's body that came from him exploded loudly. The anger in him surged as he watched his own brother die and the place he had stayed and get destroyed. Long Fei felt extremely displeased. When the power of Emperor Xian struck him, it would not come out but now. What's the use? Teach me a lesson. Who do you think you are? Long Fei said sinisterly. The strength of his body resounded in Long Fei's own voice. Who do I think I am? Your father is your ancestor. Since you're not doing anything, then give me all your power. Rumble. Long Fei broke through the seal, releasing all of his power. He knew, at this time, the power that he was unable to control would definitely appear. And his goal was this power. No matter what kind of power it was, as long as he was strong, as long as he could defeat the God's tribe, he would not care about what kind of power it was. Decaying power. The power of the underworld fire. Go to hell. In that instant, Long Fei turned the two ancient inheritance energies he had been cultivating into shock waves and directly rushed at the powerful, mysterious power. Humph! He dares to be so presumptuous in front of me with this kind of power from the ancient inheritance. You're courting death. Disdain. It could even be said that he didn't care at all. With just one move, he could instantly kill Presbyter of God's tribe and send the human emperor flying with just one chi. This mysterious power was too strong. Had only cultivated the power of the ancient inheritance to its first level. How could he be its opponent in this kind of situation? Rumble. Powerful energy directly wrapped around the underworld fire and decaying power. And then, he suddenly stomped. The underworld fire and decaying power began to shatter. He couldn't take it at all. Ha ha ha. This kind of power isn't even enough for me. He laughed maniacally, looking down on them. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. They were both the power of the ancient inheritance, but there was a difference in levels. The difference in level of the ancient inheritance was far too large. He did not care at all that the underworld fire and decaying power were being crushed, and this was within his expectations. What he wanted was not to crush it to obtain the mysterious power. What he wanted was, he had fused this mysterious power. It was all under his control. The two sides were crushed. Long Fei's mind stirred. He did not care about the two crushed powers, but rather, the idea directly jumped into the center of the dragon-shaped mark and bellowed, "Dragon head! Come out for lousy!" Boom! A sinister blood-colored dragon head appeared in front of Long Fei. Long Fei said, "I do not care who you are, nor do I care what that strange power in my body is. In short, I want to melt him. Are you willing to help?" The dragon head was silent for a moment, then said, "This is all your power." Long Fei said, "Don't tell me these things. My power is not under my control. My strength can't be used at a critical moment. Will my power hurt the people around me?" The dragon head said, "That's because you are still unable to control them." "All right, so you're going to teach me how to control them now?" Long Fei asked. The dragon head said, "It's very simple, stronger than them." Long Fei said, "Stronger than them? How? I am not a match for these forces. How can we compete?" The dragon head slightly said, "This is your experiential learning." Buzz. While they were talking, Long Fei slowly slipped into the darkness, and a voice came out from the darkness. "Long Fei, this is your training. You must learn to control this power. Remember, this power is yours, and you're this power. They're all part of you. By the way, I'll remind you, be careful. Chapter 2691, Bad. Chapter 2691, Bad, be careful. Just as these two words were spoken, Long Fei's mind tightened. Be careful of what? Could it be that this power can kill me? This was impossible, because they were all in the same body. Whoever killed them would die. At this moment, the human emperor suddenly shouted, "Be careful!" Long Fei shook violently. His expression recovered, and his bloodshot eyes contracted involuntarily. The spatial tear formed by his earlier attack, the million km space tear, formed into a shockwave. A powerful shockwave immediately swept through. Power of law, flooding with the power of primordial chaos. All sorts of energy surged forth wildly. Long Fei said anxiously, "Aren't you awesome?" And then hacked them into pieces. "You think I can't do it? Do you think I would be afraid of such a trifling spatial turbulence?" Boom! Rumble! The void exploded, and the spatial rifts that had been swirling about transformed into a gigantic vortex. At the very bottom of the vortex was a gigantic black hole. The human emperor's eyes tightened. Space-time black hole. Let's go. Run, run. The human emperor grabbed Tang Renjia. Long Fei's gaze tightened, and her bloody eyes trembled. And then, his eyes turned sinister, and he shouted coldly, "What can the space-time black hole do? Even if the ancient world only has empty holes, I am not afraid. So why would I be afraid of you?" Shwa! Long Fei's body suddenly moved and flew straight towards the space-time black hole. Long Fei's mind tensed up. Whether it's possible, if it's not, then forget it. Humph! I'm not afraid at all. With that said, the power in the blood pupil turned sinister. Both of its palms formed claws and clawed at the air. Streams of thick, ancient inheritance's power continuously burst out. He pressed down with both palms. It turned into a blood-red light. He charged straight at the space-time black hole. His aura exploded crazily, crushing everything within the surrounding millions of kilometers. The surrounding planes were trembling as if they were going to be sucked in. Destroy! A surge of power shot out. The red light exploded. The space-time black hole released a tear, and within the crack, a red light surged, as if it was bleeding. Walala! Walala! He had been like an enraged wild beast, but now he had suddenly turned into a dead dog. Ha ha ha! I've said it before, a mere space-time black hole dares to be so arrogant in front of me. It was extremely savage. However, only Long Fei knew what his current situation was. Underworld fire. Decaying power. Open for me. Boom. This time was different from last time. Long Fei used all his strength and pushed the two ancient inheritances he was controlling to its peak. In a split second, he pounced forward. He directly suppressed the weak and mysterious power. He pressed down hard on the ground. And then, a fierce fight broke out. You're awesome. You are arrogant. Are you looking down on me? Now, if you continue to look down on me, then the power within my body will obediently listen to me. Understood? Suddenly, the mysterious force did not have the time to react. He never thought that Long Fei would suddenly make a move at this time. Despicable. Shameless. He was currently very weak. He had only recovered one of his 7 strengths, and it had only recovered for a short period of time. Earlier, he said that the power of the space-time black hole killing him was more or less used up. However, Long Fei took the chance and entered. He was able to crush him in an instant. Long Fei grinned. I am despicable. I am shameless. What about it? I will ask you now, are you willing to accept my challenge? If you can't accept it, I'll beat you till you can. That force said, if you have the guts, then help me recover. Watch how I crush you to death. Bam! Bam! 2 fists fiercely punched down. Pinch. Kneel this father to death. If you can't pinch me to death, I will kill you. Bang, bang, bang. This was also Long Fei's only chance. He could not allow a power within his body that he was unable to control. This power was too dangerous for him. Moreover, this power was too strong. He had to get it. Brat, you have guts. Plant your head. Stop wasting your breath on lousy. Are you willing to accept my challenge? Still not convinced? Until you submit. Bang, bang, bang. Another beating. If the force had been a human being, he was bruised and bruised now. So you won't show up when you're supposed to, and will be crushed by the Emperor Xian to the point that you don't even dare to fart? To make him leave so many imprints on my body, do you not even dare to fart? Isn't it great to see Lousy being abused? Long Fei roared. They were also madly fighting. But no matter how much Long Fei beat him up or how much of a threat he posed, that surge of power refused to compromise. It was just like Long Fei himself, uncompromising. The more threatening he was, the harder he would be. He just couldn't accept it. Even if someone stepped on him, it would still be the same. This was exactly the same as Long Fei. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At this moment, the space-time black hole swept over once again. Tang Renjia shouted, "Boss!" Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The power laughed out loud and said, "Ha-ha, what are you going to do now? There's no other way, ha-ha-ha. It's about to be devoured by the space-time black hole." He laughed complacently. Long Fei was not happy and said, "If I am engulfed, then you will feel great, right? Sure, I'll make you feel good." The moment his voice fell, the aura around Long Fei's body retracted, and his entire person charged towards the center of the space-time black hole. "I'll let you have your fill. Don't live." Long Fei seemed to have gone crazy. The power was stunned. "What do you want to do? Are you crazy? You want to die? I don't want to die." Long Fei said, "It's easy if you don't want to die. From today onwards, you just have to listen to this, daddies." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the Force said once again, "Are you dreaming? Right. Then both of you will die." Long Fei was even faster. He didn't believe that he couldn't control him. He didn't know what Long Fei was doing, but he knew that once he enters the space-time black hole, he will never be able to come back. No one could walk out of space-time black hole, because on the other side of the space-time black hole was another great world. It was a great world that was not controlled by the ancient world, and it could never return. "Long Fei, boss!" The two of them shouted anxiously. However, Long Fei completely ignored him. He needed strength. He needed this power. Thus, he would take the risk. The space-time black hole opened its huge mouth and swallowed everything in its path. "Are you crazy? Are you crazy? All right, I promise you that you will control it for one day." Long Fei said, "Let's die together." That power said, "You are unable to control my strength." Long Fei said, "Don't waste time, just die together." That force was truly afraid. No one knew just how many years he had been silent, nor did anyone know what he had experienced. It was not easy for him to see the light of day once again, and he did not want to remain silent like this. "All right, half for each person." Long Fei smirked and said excitedly, "Deal." His body froze. It was already floating in front of space-time black hole. Right at the instant Long Fei stopped, a huge suction force from the black hole engulfed him. Long Fei's body sank as he exclaimed in his heart, "Damn it." As long as he was engulfed by the black hole, everything would be gone. In a moment of desperation, Long Fei flew out horizontally, directly rushing into the space crack. His heart sank. "Let's take a gamble. Thank you for your support." Chapter 2692, Killing Order. Chapter 2692, Killing Order. Let's take a gamble. At this time, Long Fei had no choice. He could either be swallowed by space into a black hole, or he could die, or he could go to another world that he couldn't return to. In this situation, he only had one choice. He forcefully entered the spatial crack. If he succeeded, he would appear in a plane under the universal realm. If he failed, he would be crushed by space. Die. To him, if he couldn't go back to the universal realm, if he couldn't kill the entire God's tribe, then living would be meaningless. Bet. The strength of his entire body was like a sharp blade, piercing through the edges of the black hole and rushing into the spatial crack. At the same time, Tang Renjia shouted loudly, "Boss!" The human emperor frowned. There's no saving him. "Let's go." After grabbing onto Tang Renjia, he scanned his surroundings, locking onto a certain direction. He leaped up and entered. Buzz! The two of them were engulfed by the spatial rifts. The spatial rifts slowly began to stabilize as well. Universal Realm, God's Tribe Palace. Emperor Xian slightly withdrew his consciousness. After Long Fei fell into the spatial crack, he could not feel his aura at all. Moreover, Long Fei did not enter his eyes at all. Long Fei is not qualified. The reason Emperor Xian attacked was to let Universal Boundary know that he, Emperor Xian, was the ruler of Universal Realm. He withdrew his soul consciousness and stared at the elders in the hall with a cold look in his eyes. To think that a martial artist from the lower realms would be in such a miserable state. All these years, you've been living too comfortably. The faces of the elders tightened. He instantly kneeled on the ground and didn't even dare to raise his head. The Emperor Xian said coldly, although that brat entered the spatial rift, he might not die. You guys should go out and train hard. Go find him and kill him. If you can't kill him, you won't have to return to the shrine. His figure sank. With a wave of his hand, the elders outside the shrine were dragged out of the shrine. Emperor Xian said in a faint voice, Universal Boundary. Those who kill can obtain one stream of ancient inheritance's power and become my presbyter of God's tribe, known as the Overlord. With a light wave of his voice, it spread throughout the entire Universal Boundary. Let's not talk about the lower planes. Just the Universal Realm were all stunned. Holy shit. Ancient inheritance. Really? Am I hearing things? The Emperor Xian actually got such a generous reward. This is the power of the ancient inheritance. A single strand of power is enough to dominate the Universal Realm. It's mine. That brat's life is mine. Ha! I must be the first to find him. Fuck, if you say it's yours, it's yours. Can you find it? Do you know what he looks like? Do you know who he is? Isn't that simple? As long as he uses his power, the God's Tribe's mark will appear on his body. Who doesn't know about this? But Universal Boundary, where are you going to find him? Furthermore, so many powerhouse in God's Tribe were punished because of that brat, and now that they are frantically searching for him, is it even your turn? The Universal Boundary was a vast and boundless region. Looking for someone, it was 10,000 times harder than searching for a needle in a haystack. The area was too big. However, no matter how difficult it was, many people flew out from the Universal Realm to look for it. It was because the rewards of the ancient inheritance's power were too bountiful, rewards that could not be refused. Besides the powerhouse-s searching for him, the families of the powerful sects in the Universal Boundary-s that were centered around the Sky sect of Ling Clan were also searching for him in all different planes. It was very likely that Long Fei had appeared in any of the planes. Emperor Xian's words were also a hunting order. The pursuit of 10,000 worlds. He would either hide in the mountains for the rest of his life and never come out, or come out to die. The pursuit of 10,000 worlds was simply too savage. One air, you can't go. The people of God's tribe are hunting you everywhere. You cannot leave. Inside the wild universe. A small plane. On the mountain peak, a middle-aged woman with tears in her eyes said, It's Fei, it's my little Fei. Middle-aged woman, Muwaner. He was also being pursued by the God's tribe. In the void, a figure stood in the air, staring at the middle-aged woman on the mountain peak. His brows tightened as he said, Don't worry, I will definitely send people to find him. Muwaner looked at the silhouette standing in the air and said, Master, you have to find him. It's been so many years, and I've been worried about him every single second. Back then, I should not have left the God's martial continent, and should not have returned to the Universal Realm. I should have stayed by his side, and not caused him to suffer so much. As Muwaner said this, the corners of his eyes once again filled with tears. The black shadow said faintly, This is his life. Muwaner looked up into the sky and said, He can. She did not continue. Because, thinking about the scene of Long Fei's birth, he actually, at that time, she could not have chosen, but she still chose to let Long Fei onto this path. She regretted it now. She could have been like an ordinary family, a family of 3 enjoying a blissful life together. But now, how many years had it been since he had seen his son? Her heart ached. The shadow said, Warner, don't worry. He will be alive. Muwaner said, God's tribe is too strong. Emperor Xian is too strong. Xiao Fei is in too much pain. I want to go out, master. Can you let me go out? The Black Shadow said, That won't do. Long Zhanting has already been captured. I can't let you be captured again. I promised. He did not continue. I promise you, I will definitely find him and protect him well. Mu Wanner took a step forward and said, Master, if you find Xiao Fei, can you bring him to another great world? I don't want him to suffer again. I don't want him to be in danger again. Master, is that possible? Mu Wanner pleaded. Universal Realm was too dangerous. Long Fei alone was not a match for him. The Black Shadow froze for a moment, then mumbled, Another great world. It was hard to describe the pain. And then, the shadow nodded. All right, I promise you. However, he was saying in his heart, the other great senior sister, the entire universe was on the verge of collapse. What other major world was safe? Dragon Abyss Dungeon. All the veins in Long Zhanting's body bulged as he struggled to rush towards the sky above the abyss. The harder he pushed, the tighter the dragon locked chain shrank. His body felt as though it was splitting apart. He acted as if he could not feel the pain and said solemnly, Emperor Xian, if you touch my child, I will definitely kill you. Xiao Fei, do not enter the universal realm. Definitely do not enter the universal realm. Do not come in. Long Zhanting sensed an aura from Long Fei's body. Sensing that the Emperor Xian had made his move, he was now extremely worried and was begging Long Fei not to enter the universal realm. It's too dangerous here. Chapter 2693, The First Path, Strength, Black and White. Chapter 2693, The First Path, Strength, Black and White, and then there was Long Fei. After entering the spatial rift, he did not give up on controlling the mysterious power that he had obtained. Moreover, he understood this power could very well be the most ancient inheritance power. It was the superpower beneath the dragon-shaped mark. This power was related to his superpower, the Seven Meridians painting. Eorong's mission was completed. A seal was released, releasing this power. However, he couldn't grasp it yet. Other than Eorong, there were 6 other superpowers. If he could release all of these powers, then he could release all of the power that the dragon-shaped mark had. What will it be like then? His current power alone was enough to easily crush Presbyter of God's tribe. If it were 7 strengths, then the scene. Long Fei's mind tightened. Emperor Xian, wash your ass and wait. Long Fei clenched both his fists. And then, the idea moved and said, Are you convinced? The Force said, Don't talk about that for now. Let's see if you can survive. If you can't find your way in, even if I admire you, you won't be able to survive. Long Fei said, Let's not talk about that. If you submit to me, I can find a plane to enter. The power said, Fine, I admire you. Long Fei said, It's impossible for you to not accept this. I know what kind of power you are and why you're here. The dragon-shaped mark is your host body, and I am its host body. That Force said, You are right, but you should also be clear on one point. You are currently too weak, and you cannot control it. You cannot even control it. If you fuse with my power, your body will explode. I think you'd better. Long Fei said, That's my problem. I won't trouble you to worry about it. The power remained silent for a moment before saying, Anyway, it is yours, no? You are mine. I am yours. We are one. I can compromise now. But, boy, let me tell you this. My character is very violent. If anyone is smug in front of me and provokes my displeasure by acting arrogantly, I will make his entire family displeased. You know my methods very well. Irritation? It was more than just irritation. It was simply an explosion. He didn't care who you were or who you were. If he was unhappy, then he would just kill. Long Fei said, You don't need to say. The Force said, If power is not meant to kill, then it is meaningless. In addition, that Force said, In the future, I'll have to trouble you to not get the repression of boundary stones out of there too easily. While speaking, he looked up at the repression of boundary stones floating above his head. As long as Long Fei gave the order, he would suppress it. He was fearless. Even if the Emperor Xian stood in front of him, he would not be afraid, but this repression of boundary stones. His nemesis. Although it was just a tiny bit, a small piece of repression of boundary stones could still suppress him. In the ancient world, his body was still below the repression of boundary stones. However, that was not a small piece of repression of boundary stones, but a small piece of mountain. It was just that in this world, no one but him could find it. If not for the repression of boundary stones' trampling, it would have been impossible to make him surrender. Long Fei said lightly, "It's good that you understand. In the future, listen obediently. I guarantee that the repression of boundary stones will not appear." The idea withdrew. The repression of boundary stones disappeared. The power let out a heavy breath and muttered in his heart, "Damn it, there will be a day when I will smash you into pieces." Long Fei raised his eyes and asked, "What did you say?" The power immediately replied, "No, I didn't say anything. I'm saying that I will definitely cooperate with you. I'll remind you, you won't be able to endure my strength. Once you use my power, you will go berserk, and only I can control your body to protect it. If you lose a few parts of your body, don't blame me." No kidding. Long Fei himself knew. Once he went berserk, he wouldn't be able to control himself. Long Fei said, "Whatever parts are missing from my body, your body will also have what parts. I promise the repression of boundary stones." The power bellowed and said, "Damn." Long Fei moved his idea, and the repression of boundary stones instantly floated into the air. "Are you unhappy?" The power immediately said, "No, not at all, not at all. How could I be displeased?" The repression of boundary stones is the tightening curse. He was Monkey's son, and Long Fei was Monktang. If you dare to move recklessly with a thought of the tightening headband curse, you will be suppressed. Long Fei asked, "What is your strength called?" The force said, "Black and white." "Black and white," Long Fei said silently. At this moment, a ray of light flashed inside the spatial crack. Long Fei's eyes also flashed with a ray of light, light a plane. Whoosh! He quickly flew up and rushed into the plane. This was his only chance, and he didn't care what plane he was in or what level he was at. He just needed to go in, at least. This plane was still within the universal realm. Chua! Crash! A crack appeared in space. Long Fei passed through it. Light radiated in all directions. In the air, the moment Long Fei had entered this plane, the laws of this plane instantly wrapped around Long Fei, and his body suddenly sank down as he directly descended 10,000 meters from the sky. Free fall. This was a brand new plane. Each plane had its own independent boundary, as well as its own laws. Long Fei's level in the Zhenwu continent was Emperor Zhenwu's realm. However, in this world, his level was 0. This was the law of the realm. With a level 0 condition, it was impossible for Long Fei's body to fly in the air at all, and it directly fell to the ground. Ding! System notification. Congratulations to player Long Fei for entering the lower realm of Songlan continent. Long Fei's mind tensed up. F***K. Lower plane. Why is it not universal realm? Ruh. Will I die if I fall like this? Then, the aura on Long Fei's body moved, and red beams of light emerged from his entire body. Blood-colored scales appeared and directly covered Long Fei's entire body. At this moment, when he used his power, his entire body was covered in Emperor Xian imprints. Piercing pain filled his entire body. Although it was the breaking through the seal, the moment Long Fei used his strength, all of the imprints on his body would appear. King Emperor Xian. Long Fei felt a piercing pain all over. Looking at the brand on his body, he felt like he was a slave who had been sold countless times. His entire body was branded with the brand of a slave. This feeling was truly very unpleasant. However, this was not the only thing he was unhappy about. Just a few seconds after Long Fei released the blood scales on his body, a system notification immediately sounded. Ding! System notification. Insufficient spiritual value. Not enough spiritual energy. After the blood scales had hidden into his body, Long Fei's eyes darkened. Damn, this time I'm going to die. Chapter 2694, Leopard Girl. Chapter 2694, Leopard Girl. It was the same as the laws of the realm. The Zhenwu continent was worth a lot of money, but the Songlan continent was worth a lot of money. Due to the restrictions of the realm laws, the value of the true qi could not be converted into spiritual value. Long Fei was only a level 0 Songlan continent, and his spiritual value was also only 10 points. Instantly, it was used up. What the F***CK are you doing this time? It's the demon beast. Quick, let me level up. Upgrade. That's right. No matter how the spatial laws are restricted, my experience points will not be affected at all. You have to know that my experience points in the Zhenwu continent is over 100 billion. Immediately, Long Fei immediately opened up the system to check. The experience points was full, and it was just as Long Fei had said, with over 180 billion experience points. Now, just let him kill a demon beast. That's not right. Even if he had to kill a toad or squash a fly, a mosquito would be fine. He could go berserk. This was also because Songlan continent was only a bit higher in terms of plane level than Zhenwu continent, and their experience points was not affected by much. If they were to directly fly into Universal Realm, changes would happen to their experience points. Right now, Long Fei only needed to kill a demon beast to level up. Walala, walala, walala. He couldn't control himself from frantically falling. Long Fei continuously rotated in midair. The heck, flying into the virtual. When Long Fei moved, he obtained the power of the flying into the virtual when he broke through the limits of true martial emperor. He entered the universal realm. Ding! System notification. Level not high enough. Damn, your sister. Long Fei cursed. Why is my level not enough? My current level is also Emperor Zhenwu's realm. Why is it not enough? Rise. Ding. System notification. Player's level is low. F***CK. Long Fei's level bar now had a big 0 written on it. That meant that he was now level 0. How do I rise to level 0? In Songlan continent, it should be the level of ascension that should be placed on this plane. It's going to fall. It's going to fall. F***CK. I'm going to fall to death. I'm going to fall to death. Long Fei called out, causing the idea to move. Underworld fire. Ding. System notification. Insufficient spiritual value. Your sister. Decaying power. Ding. System notification. Insufficient spiritual value. Other than these two powers, Long Fei did not have a single cultivation technique. And amongst the space ring, other than the two cracked-up space ring S and the repression of boundary stones, he did not have any other spirit treasures. There was only cultivation technique energy, sky, sword energy, supreme dragon knife energy, spirit treasure energy left. All of these were absorbed and converted by the presbyter of God's tribe, and they were all absorbed by him now. Long Fei had not used it yet. However, so what if he used it now? Without levels, there would be no spiritual energy, which meant that there was no way to catalyze this. There was nothing he could do. Oh God, can I squash a mosquito to death? One is enough. Long Fei was very bitter, but he could do nothing as he looked at the 180 billion experience overflowing out of his mouth. How much suffering was this? As long as it was a small monster, he would be able to ascend to the heavens. The closer he got to the ground, the more bitter Long Fei felt in his heart. I've thought of countless of ways to die, but I've never thought that I would fall to my death. Isn't this too tragic? Below him was a mountain. If he were to fall from 10,000 meters in the air, he would definitely die. A shadow fell from the sky. What's that? Why are you still shouting? Could it be a person? Holy sh**t. I believe in camel droppings from the sky, but this is the first time I've seen a person falling from the sky. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and save them. Save? How can we be saved? If we fall from such a high place, we won't be able to withstand the impact. Exactly. Who is he? Why should we save him? A few hunting squads looked at Long Fei in the sky and revealed cold smiles. What do you think would happen if this person were to hit the ground? Would he throw the sh**t out? Maybe the sh**t will pop out of my mouth. Huh? While everyone was talking, a figure flew out from the forest. He was dressed in a black suit with a long ponytail, had a few camouflage patterns on his face, wore bee skin, and his skin was smooth and slightly tanned. He held a javelin in his hand and carried several javelins on his back. The javelin in his hand shot out. Shwa! The tip of the spear shined with a faint fluorescent light. The entire spear was thrust into a towering tree. The tip of his foot sank. He stood on the javelin and flicked it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He instantly flew into the air. Another javelin followed, and he flicked it again. His body also directly broke through the forest and leaped 100 meters into the air. The lady looked at Long Fei, who was falling from the sky. Her eyes tensed up for a moment, and then said softly, "Catch me." What is the barbarian trying to do? Who cares what she does? Could it be that she wants to save him? Tisk, save her. This wild woman probably wants to kill someone, right? Maybe not. I've never seen her save people. I've only seen her kill people. Do you think she will pass the examination this time? Is there even a need to think about it? He would definitely not be able to pass the examination. How could the Tsanglan College's #1 academy let a barbarian go? I heard she was born human and a wild leopard. Wouldn't it be shameful if she could enter the academy? This was a test to the academy. The people in the forest were all examinees. They were all shocked by the sudden appearance of the savage, but they were all laughing at him. At this height, the impact could not save him by relying on his javelins. In midair, Long Fei landed face to face. Seeing that a person was flying up into the sky, a trace of hope rose in his heart. Seeing that it was a woman, he was even more joyous. Could it be my charm value? That's not right. My charm value has been closed. There are still good people in this world. However, not waiting for him to finish, the woman's body sank and fell to the ground. Long Fei was startled. Damn, are you messing with me? I don't care. Long Fei's body retracted and instantly became a straight line. He did not care about anything else and directly hugged onto the woman's waist. Wild Woman said lightly, "Hold tight." He didn't seem to resist. Long Fei also said, "Don't worry, hug tight." However, his hands were in a position that he should not have put them in. Boom! Wild Woman grabbed the javelin in the tree trunk with one hand, wanting to jump up, but he couldn't. Crack! The javelin broke. He grabbed another one. Ka! Asterisk broken again. Several times in a row. All the javelins were broken. Wild Woman's arm was almost broken. However, he landed safely. Savage's breath was weak. Can you let go now? Long Fei felt that he had touched a place that he shouldn't have, and immediately relaxed, and said awkwardly, "Sorry." And then, he took a step back and looked at the savage in front of him. He could not help but ask, "Leopard girl?" Chapter 2695, Thief? Chapter 2695, Thief? The leopard girl? He couldn't help but say it out loud. Without any reaction, he opened his mouth and spoke out. Wild Woman was stunned. She seriously looked at Long Fei for a moment, then retracted her gaze. With no other expression, she turned around to the side to clean up the broken javelins. Is she really the leopard girl? Damn, it can't be that leopard girl's lover, right? Playing cosplay here? That's not right. This is a foreign world, not Earth. There's no cosplay at all. No one knows about the leopard girl. Long Fei kept muttering to himself. Moreover, a few scenes flashed through his mind. The leopard girl shuttled through the forest, and then she was chased by a certain clan. How did this happen? Could she be someone from my seal memories? Long Fei's heart tensed up, and then he walked forward and said, "Sister, did we meet somewhere before?" Wild Woman did not reply. Looking at these broken javelins, she could not help but frown. She didn't know why. Seeing the figure descending from the sky, she went to save him with her life on the line. It had to be known that this was her first time saving someone. Seeing that she did not answer, Long Fei could not help but ask, "I feel that we have met somewhere before." Wild Woman coldly replied, "Can you be any more old-fashioned?" Finished. He tied the broken javelins on his back, looked at the dark forest, and muttered, "I'm going to fail the examination again this year. Sigh, when will I be able to enter the Tsanglan College? When will I be able to cultivate to the peak and then leave this plane and enter the universal realm. His eyes were filled with loneliness. If she failed for 3 consecutive years, and if she failed again this year, then she would forever have the qualification to take the examination. Long Fei looked at the desolation in her eyes and felt an indescribable pain in his heart. Long Fei asked, "Are you taking the assessment? I'll help you." Wild Woman looked at him but did not say anything. She just walked into the forest. As long as the exam was not over and there was still a chance, she would not give up. "Hello, I can really help you." Long Fei chased after him. The leopard girl, wild huntress. He could even transform. Most importantly, she had once appeared in his memories. His intuition told him that Long Fei must have something to do with him. The wild woman ignored Long Fei and continued walking. Now the javelin was gone. Her alliance was gone. Suddenly, the wild woman stopped and did a silent cleaning before slowly squatting down. Seeing that, Long Fei maintained his silence and slowly squatted, lowering his voice. "I can help you." Wild Woman frowned, signaling for him to be quiet. At this moment, a flame wolf jumped up and down on the tree trunk. Not long after, it landed not far away from a piece of beast meat dripping with fresh blood. Long Fei looked at the flame wolf, his heart shocked. A trap. Although it was not a beast trap, Long Fei felt that this woman was no different from a leopard girl. Her beast skin clothes, her breasts. It was exactly the same. Suddenly, a woo! With a blood-curdling screech, the flame wolf fell into the trap. Wild Woman also instantly jumped out. His speed was extremely fast. He quickly arrived at the edge of the trap. Long Fei secretly thought, such vigorous movements. A woo! A woo! The painful howls of the wolves could be heard one after another. Watching the fire wolf wild woman in the trap, her brows finally relaxed a little. She knew that as long as she could bring this fire wolf back, she would pass the test. Papa, what a beautiful trap. I thought it wouldn't jump. I never thought that all the demon beastess would be brainless and actually jump down. On the other side, a small team of 4 walked out, led by a man wearing luxurious clothing. The man had a face full of smiles, and the 4 people behind him were like his servants. Stealing monsters? Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Wild Woman also frowned. "This is a trap I made." The man smiled and said, "I know," Wild Woman said. "So this flame wolf is my prey." The man said, "You were the one who set the trap, but that doesn't mean that the prey is yours. All right, since I'm in a good mood, you should get lost." The servants behind him immediately clamored. "Did you hear that? Get lost. Hurry up and get lost. Staying here to seek death. Wild bastard." Suddenly, when the 3 words bastard came out of his mouth, Long Fei's eyes trembled and flashed with a cold light as he stared at that person. "You're courting death?" Not waiting for him to rush up, Wild Woman immediately pulled Long Fei back. The servant sneered. "A trash like you? Little bastard, if you have the guts, then take a step forward. Let's see who is courting death." "Ha ha!" Very arrogant. Long Fei's eyes were filled with killing intent. Wild Woman held on tightly and said, "Let's go." The grip was too tight, and Long Fei was unable to struggle free. Long Fei's body slightly loosened and said, "It's fine to scold me, but I can't scold you." Wild Woman's gaze tensed up. The man sneered, "A trash like you who hasn't even reached level 1 is not even qualified to be scolded by me, you bastard." The muscles in the corner of Long Fei's eyes twitched. Then, his body stiffened slightly, and he didn't struggle. Wild Woman thought that Long Fei had given up his struggle and let go of her worries. At this moment, bam! Long Fei suddenly erupted with power and instantly rushed out. Wild Woman was caught off guard, unable to make it in time to stop him. The man laughed coldly, looking at Long Fei, who was rushing towards him with a face full of contempt. "You're courting death." "Ha ha! Young master, let me do it. How can this level 1 trash let you do it? It will dirty your hands." While they were talking, then the servant rushed forward. Level. It was always the most crucial thing. When Long Fei entered the Tsanglan continent, his level was already level 0. His cultivation, spirit energy, and health point were all restricted by the laws of the real plane. However, There was no restriction at all. Experience points. The Songlan continent was merely at a slightly higher level than the Zhenwu continent's plane of existence, so Long Fei's experience points wasn't affected that much. One had to know, he actually brought 18 billion experience points with him to this place. Level 0? I'll let you know what level is. In that instant, Long Fei did not welcome the servant, but suddenly jumped into the trap. This action caused everyone to be stunned. The man was laughing so hard that he leaned back and forth. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. I thought I was going to do something awesome, but it turns out I'm just a retard. Ha. He fell into a trap and committed suicide. Ha ha. I'm going to die from laughter. Everyone was laughing. The space between Wild Woman's eyebrows tightened as he didn't understand what Long Fei was trying to do. Bam! Oh, whoa. Long Fei jumped into the trap and killed the firewolf that only had a sliver of blood left. It was also at this time the system sounded out. Ding! Chapter 2696, Strong Kiss. Chapter 2696, Strong Kiss, 180 times experience. If the Songlan continent's plane of existence was only slightly higher than the Zhenwu continent's, then this much experience would be enough for Long Fei to reach the top of this plane. Level? I will let you all know what level is. 18 billion experience. As long as all of it was released, Long Fei could go to the skies. He was just short of killing a demon beast now. The system beep rang. The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised slightly, and he said indifferently, "Come, let this old man ascend to the sky." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Firewolf for obtaining 180 experience, 10 spiritual value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 1. It's starting. It's going to blow up. Long Fei was nervous and excited. He couldn't help but look at the 180 billion experience points. However, after the two system beep sounds, it calmed down and did not hear another sound. Long Fei, who was initially passionate and excited, felt as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over his head. He was stupefied and immediately cursed in his heart. System, I'll F***KU. 18 billion experience points, and you want me to level up? Do you want to play me to death? He still wanted to act cool. He still wanted to soar to the top. But, just by being promoted by one level, what was this? He was supposed to be able to act cool, but now, he couldn't even act cool. How bitter was this? Long Fei opened the system to take a look. His mind trembled as he saw that the 18 billion experience was basically untouched. He thought to himself, it's not released. That's not right. To be exact, I haven't released all of them yet. I got it. Killing one monster at a time can only increase one level. It can only release one level. It can't be as easy as killing one monster at a time in the game. After Long Fei understood this point, his heart slightly relaxed. Although he could not go all the way to the highest point, it was still a good feeling to reach the first level of Saber. Ha ha ha, ha ha. Little bastard, don't kill yourself if you can't beat him. You want a hero to save a beauty with someone like you? I almost died from your laughter. Ha ha. The four of them were still laughing. Wild Woman quickly ran to the side of the trap and saw Long Fei standing inside the trap. He relaxed slightly and said, "Let's go. Leave." Humph. I told you to scram just now, but you didn't. I'm not happy right now, so you guys can't leave. The man's eyes became serious. His fingers moved, and he said, "Capture her. My young Master Kwang has played with countless women, but we have never experienced the feeling of savages. We're going to have meat today." Got it. A lewd smile appeared on the man's face. The three servants quickly surrounded him. He would still be afraid of javelins if he had them. But now that the Wild Woman did not have any javelins, it meant that the tiger did not have any claws. Wild Woman retreated slightly as he entered a state of cultivation. At this moment, Long Fei jumped out from the trap and stood beside the leopard girl, protecting her as he gently said, "Don't be afraid, there's me." Wild Woman looked at Long Fei. The man laughed again. "Ha, with you? What's the use of having you? Trash, you want to fight with me? You dead trash, why aren't you peeing?" Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei flipped his left hand. Like a phantom. It was also at this moment that a ball of purplish-black flames suddenly appeared above the man's head. Young master, is your head on fire? Young master, you're on fire. Young master. The man raised his eyes slightly and said, Who the hell touched my hair? Before he could finish his words, the man instantly fell to the ground. In that instant, the purplish-black flames instantly engulfed the man. Boom! In an instant, he was reduced to ashes. A light breeze blew the ashes away, leaving only a charred human figure on the ground. All this happened in less than a second. Too fast. It was so fast that no one other than Long Fei could react. He didn't even know how he died. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lin Kuang for obtaining 580 experience and 50 spiritual value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 2. One move for one rank. It instantly soared. This feeling was as good as continuous posturing. Awesome. However, the moment Long Fei used his power, his body was imprinted with a brand. On the face, on his forehead, hands, and body, all of the curse mark S planted by the Emperor Xin appeared. He looked extremely sinister, as if he was a ghost. The other three saw that Long Fei was so scared that he directly fell to the ground, not caring about other things at all. His legs went soft, his four limbs crawled all over the place, and they quickly ran out. Ghost! Ghost! There's a ghost! Long Fei looked at the mark on his hand and touched it. His eyes darkened and his teeth chattered loudly. Damn Emperor Xian! Sooner or later, I will explode with anger. The seal was broken through, although it did not hurt. However, it truly made Long Fei very angry. His handsome face was ruined. Moreover, he now looked like a cursed man. His entire body was branded with runes. It was very terrifying. Just by looking at the three fleeing servants, he knew how hideous his face was. It was even more terrifying than a ghost. However, Wild Woman did not flee. She looked at Long Fei seriously and watched him silently. Long Fei also looked at her. That ghostly appearance of his did not scare her. Or could it be that she was so scared that she forgot to run? After a few seconds, Wild Woman asked softly, Does it hurt? In that moment, Long Fei's heart suddenly tensed up. His entire being seemed to be melting. The kind of feeling he had was indescribable. It was also at this time. A strange scene appeared. A yellow exclamation mark slowly floated out from the Wild Woman's head. Mission! Long Fei tensed up. She immediately thought of Yurong. He took a step forward and said lightly, No, it doesn't. Task not triggered. This caused Long Fei to be even more convinced that the woman in front of him was one of his super quest, the Seven Meridians painting. Since the mission is just a kiss, then now. Long Fei looked at the somewhat dazed Wild Woman, his heart having an incomparable thirst for power. He couldn't wait to complete the mission and obtain his full strength. Moreover, he was now like a worm in the brain. Dragons were naturally like this. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly grabbed onto Wild Woman's arm, and without giving her a chance to react, he forcefully kissed her. This was how Yurong kissed her and completed the mission. The first mission is to accompany life and death. The strength acquired is black and white. Since there was a precedent, then Long Fei will do the same. Suddenly kissing it, Long Fei's heart became tranquil, and he said to himself, Come, mission notification sound. Let me complete the second mission. Let me obtain the second powerful strength. However, the next second after he kissed her, the system beep did not make a sound. Chapter 2697, Exposure. Chapter 2697, Exposure. Long Fei suddenly jerked away, blood leaking from the corner of his mouth. If he did not pull away, his tongue would have been bitten off. Wild Woman glared at him. Killing intent filled his eyes. Long Fei said, So ruthless? The Wild Woman glared at him, and his gaze shifted downwards. Long Fei pinched both his legs together and immediately said, Next time, I won't dare. He whispered in his heart. Why didn't he succeed? Yurong also completed the mission after just a kiss. Could it be that this is different, or is she a woman that isn't part of the Seven Apertures missions? Long Fei secretly thought. 7 beautiful women. Every woman is different. Yurong followed along with life and death. And in the end, when Long Fei was on the verge of death, he gave a light kiss. But this time, Long Fei directly gave her a strong kiss. Do you want the woman to take the initiative? Long Fei looked at her and said faintly, About that, I'm sorry about that. I didn't do it on purpose. I kissed you once, so that's fine. The wild woman glared at Long Fei again and said, I advise you to leave this place as soon as possible. The person you killed just now is Lin Kuang, the young master of the Songlan City's Lin family. As far as she was concerned, she did not dislike Long Fei at all. However, he didn't have a good impression of her either. Long Fei shrugged and said, These are all not a problem. If I kiss you, won't you kiss me back? While talking, Long Fei took another step forward. Wild Woman squinted his eyes. The killing intent in his eyes became even stronger. Long Fei immediately stopped and said, It's just a joke. Sigh. It seems I have to make her fall in love with me. This mission must be completed. It seems I entered this plane for a reason as well. Long Fei thought in his heart. So far, only Yurong had completed the super quest, 7 Meridians painting, and the other 6 women. Including the little girl from Earth, there were 5 more. If you count Leopard Girl as 1, then there are only 4 left. How can I make a wild woman fall in love with me? Powerful, right? I have to release these 18 billion experience points as soon as possible. Any woman would have difficulty resisting the powerhouse's pursuit. Long Fei made a decision in his heart and said, Aren't you taking the examination? I'll help you. Wild Woman cut off the head of the flame wolf from the trap and jumped out of the pit. He carried the head of the flame wolf on his back and jumped into the forest. Long Fei did not follow him. Songlan College. Examination? Haha. I'll bring up my level increase first. Then we'll go to the Songlan College and propose marriage. With this world's peak level, let's see if you can still resist it. When the time comes, wouldn't it be better to obediently let me capture you? Long Fei's mouth hooked up, lightly smiled, and then jumped to the other side. Upgrade. What he needed was not a strong demon beast, nor was it a boss. He only needed to kill some monsters. This level of leveling was too easy. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Little Squirrel for obtaining 1 EXP and 1 spiritual value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Wild Chicken. Congratulations player Long Fei for killing Wild Chicken. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Ding! 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 Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. The level up notification rang every few minutes. 1 move to increase by 1 grade. It felt so good. After 2 hours, he had risen to level 26 in succession. This speed was too valiant. This was because there were fewer monsters in the forest. Otherwise, Long Fei would have been faster. Huff! I've never felt so good before. Long Fei laughed excitedly. 2 hours and 20 minutes? Who the F*** CK is there? Songlan College? Lin Clan? Go to hell. At this moment, whoosh! A model rose up from the distant hill and exploded in midair. It was also at this time. A deep voice called out, The time for the assessment is over. The examinees in the forest also quickly rushed towards the exit. Long Fei grinned and said, What level is my current realm in this world? If I am not at least level 20 powerhouse, I should not be too bad. Let's go take a look first. Long Fei didn't really want to leave. What he wanted to do now was to release 180 billion experience points as soon as possible and reach the Great Perfection stage. However, he was a little worried about the Leopard Girl. If she was injured or in an accident, it would directly affect his mission, and her figure would appear in his memories. In here, bite my woman. Can I let her go? Long Fei gently leaped and landed 100 meters away. With his current level, he could easily control his chi. Do you remember the man's face? Even if he turned into powder, I would still be able to recognize him. This is too terrifying. I have never seen such a person before. All right, enlarge your eyes and look carefully. If you dare to touch a member of my Lin family, I will make him regret coming to this world. Young Master Kwang Lord Lin is ranked 367 on Sky Sect of Ling Clan's genius ranking. The death of such a genius is a huge loss at Songlan College. Don't worry, the elders from Sky Sect of Ling Clan are here too. At the exit of the examination grounds, besides the elders of the Songlan College, there were also many people gathered. Many great clans of the Songlan city had come. Other than that, and the people from the Sky Sect of Ling Clan. As long as it was a plane controlled by the God's Tribe, a Sky Sect of Ling Clan would be established, and all sorts of geniuses would be collected. This was a super control method. A genius was the blood vein of a plane. As long as one could control it, that was equal to controlling the entire plane. At this moment, a Lin Clan servant looked at the wild woman in the crowd and immediately said, "Patriarch, that savage appeared. That brat is with him." The other two servants also quickly said, "That little brat was saved by this woman. Their relationship is definitely not ordinary." Lin Tianhao frowned. Killing intent could be seen in his eyes as he bellowed out, "Men, seize her!" Huh! As soon as he finished, several experts of the Lin clan behind him flew out. Within 2 breaths, he landed beside the leopard girl, and before the leopard girl could resist, he had already clamped onto her arm. "What are you doing?" The leopard girl resisted. However, her cultivation was quickly suppressed. He couldn't resist at all. His body flew up into the air. At this moment, Long Fei said solemnly, "If even my woman dares to touch me, then what the F***CK is she looking to die for?" Boom! The moment his aura surged out, his figure became like a mirage. Before the two of them could bring the leopard girl out, Long Fei's aura had already crushed the two of them in midair and made them fall down. Long Fei hugged the leopard girl and slowly landed. At this moment, the imprints on his body all appeared. Everyone around them looked as if they had seen a ghost. When the elders of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan saw the patterns on Long Fei's body, their expressions sank. God's Tribe's curse mark. He is a person that the God's Tribe is chasing and killing. Thank you for your support. Who else? Second's Light. Who else? Second's Light. The elders of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan were very clear about many things in the God's Tribe. Long Fei used his spirit energy, and a curse immediately appeared on his body. There was no doubt that he was the one the God's Tribe was chasing after. However, Songlan Continent was also only in a lower plane of the lower realms, so he wasn't that well informed. As for Long Fei's identity, the elders of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan South did not place much importance on him either. Furthermore, how could such a lowly person be valued by the God's Tribe on such a low level? Very strong? Not really. Long Fei's gaze trembled slightly as he swept his gaze across the entire audience and said, "Whoever moves against her can give it a try. How can you all move Lousy's woman?" Very wild. He did not place any of these people at all in his eyes. His words displeased quite a few people, especially the members of the Lin clan. How arrogant. A mere examination disciple is actually so arrogant? Which family are you from? Lin Tianhao asked solemnly. While they were talking, Lin Tianhao also looked around and saw the numerous nobles within the Songlan city not far away. But seeing that they did not react, he coldly laughed in his heart. Is it an earth leopard? He's an old fox. The reason why he did not take action immediately was because he wanted to know Long Fei's identity. Some people were not to be trifled with. However, looking at the situation, Long Fei did not seem to be someone from one of the nobles of Songlan City. Long Fei said lightly, "Rest assured, I am not a disciple of some large clan. If you want to take action, please do so as soon as possible." His tone was calm, but too arrogant. The Lin family was a huge family of the Songlan City. Experts were as common as the clouds. How could he be so arrogant in front of Lin Tianhao? Wasn't a disciple taking the examination courting death? Humph! You dog, I want to see just how strong you are. How dare you act so arrogantly? As soon as he finished, a man suddenly flew out from behind Lin Tianhao, his hands forming claws. Releasing spirit energy, he directly grabbed towards Long Fei's throat. Kneel down and accept your death. The leopard girl's eyes narrowed. Long Fei said softly, "Don't worry." And then, protecting the leopard girl behind him, his eyes locked on a man that flew over as he muttered, "Killing people is much faster than killing monsters. I was just worrying about whether I would kill him or not." He flipped his left hand. Buzz! The purplish-black flames slightly moved, and just as the man pounced towards him, Long Fei's left hand moved to intercept him. Bam! The underworld fire burst out. The Lin clan male's arm instantly burned and turned into ashes, and then his entire body also turned into ashes. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lin family elder for obtaining 15,000 experience and 400 spiritual value. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Another level up. It was too fast. This was much better than reaching the maximum level together. Although Underworld Fire S were just the skin of the super force of Ming Clan, in this level of existence, the strength of the Underworld Fire S were just too great. No matter who it was. That's the move. This is the technique. The young master also died like this. He's a ghost. A single instant kill caused a small commotion. They all looked at Long Fei and couldn't help but to take a few steps back. The leopard girl also looked at Long Fei. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, "How is it? I am very handsome. Am I enchanted?" The leopard girl glared at Long Fei and said, "You just killed the Lin family's elder. The Lin family is a huge family in the Songlan city. If you provoke them, the consequences would be—" Long Fei interrupted. "The ones who need to worry are them, because they have angered me." Long Fei stared at Lin Tianhao and said, "Just this kind of trash? Too weak. Is there anyone stronger?" Haha. His tone was filled with provocation. Lin Tianhao's eyes turned sinister as he said solemnly, "Brat, you're dead for sure today. Kill him." In an instant, a large group of people rushed out from behind Lin Tianhao. It was also at this time. An old man from the Songlan College walked out and said lightly, "Clan leader Lin, is there some kind of misunderstanding? If this kind of super genius could enter the Songlan College, then the Songlan College would definitely become even stronger." Lin Tianhao bellowed, "Didn't you see him kill my Lin family's elders? Kill them all." He ignored them. A dozen or so Lin clan experts surrounded Long Fei, and under Lin Tianhao's command, they all drew out their swords and formed a sword formation. The sword formation began to move. Killing intent raged. The Lin family's 6 corporeal forms? This isn't a bit too much of a fuss? The 6 heavenly sword formation is a super sword formation that can even kill a stage 9 demon beast. This kid is dead for sure. Who asked him to be so arrogant, killing an elder of the Lin clan in front of clan head Lin? He truly knows his limits. I bet he won't be able to take 3 moves. 3 moves? 1 move, and you will die. A dozen elites quickly activated their sword intent, which also became denser. The leopard girl said in a low voice, "The Lin family's 6 paths of the sword formation is the principle of the 8 desolations and 6 paths of the sword formation. It was created by a great ancestor of the Lin family, and it is also because of this sword formation that the Lin family is able to create it." Bang, bang, bang. Without waiting for the leopard girl to finish, she could only hear a series of banging sounds from the surroundings. Then, over a dozen of the Lin family elites fell to the ground, their bodies twitching. Ding, ding, ding. The system exploded. After consecutively leveling up to level 10, the current Long Fei had directly soared to level 40. 1 level. It felt too good. Bringing 18 billion experience points into this plane, how wonderful. Long Fei slowly walked back to the leopard girl's side and shrugged. Just like this. Damn, it's not enough for me to tickle him. Hey, are there any stronger ones? Too weak. The entire audience was dumbfounded. The Lin family's proud 6 corporeal forms could not even last for a second before being instantly destroyed. Furthermore, Those disciples were also instantly killed. The leopard girl was stunned. Lin Tianhao's eyes darkened. He did not know how to react. Looking at the Lin family elites on the ground, he clenched his fists tightly. "Kid, who exactly are you?" Long Fei pulled back his hatred. "I'm your father." Crack! The joints on Lin Tianhao's body exploded. The aura on his body burned into flames. Along with a few elders beside Lin Tianhao, all of them rushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes twitched, and his lips curled into a smile. Scum! His left hand moved. His 5 fingers formed a claw, and the decaying power instantly surged, grabbing towards the sky. Buzz! An explosion sounded in the air. Not waiting for Lin Tianhao and the other powerhouse to fall, they were instantly sucked in by a strong suction force. Bang, bang, bang. The few of them were stacked together like an R-hood. Then Long Fei made a grasping motion with his 5 fingers. Inhale. Walala. Walala. The profound spirit chi in Lin Tianhao's body was quickly being drained. The few elders behind him did the same. His frantic struggles were completely useless. 10 seconds. Lin Tianhao and the few elders turned into corpses. Long Fei stepped on them, swept his gaze across them, and asked coldly, "Who else?" Chapter 2699. All of you are trash. Chapter 2699. All of you are trash, a great clan of Songlan City. Experts are as common as the clouds. Overbearing? They were all scum. Long Fei finished them all by himself in less than 10 minutes. It was like a dream. Many people did not manage to react, as they were completely stupefied. Seeing Lin Tianhao, who had turned into a dried corpse, their faces all turned ugly. When Long Fei said this, who else immediately crushed everyone present? He didn't dare to make a sound. Too domineering. Long Fei turned around to look at the leopard girl, who was also in a daze, and asked, "How is it? How handsome?" The leopard girl looked at Long Fei. Long Fei laughed. "Are you enchanted by me?" The leopard girl rolled her eyes at him and didn't say anything. Her heart was filled with shock, but she wasn't captivated by Long Fei because there was someone living in her heart, no matter what happened. The sea dried up and the rock shattered. The sky was desolate and the earth was old. The person in her heart would not change even if she tried to use stellar transposition. Thus, her gaze towards Long Fei was very calm. The surface of the lake was as tranquil as a mirror. Not a single ripple could be seen on it. Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. How could this be? There's no reason. Logically speaking, any girl would be captivated by someone as domineering as me. Why is it that her eyes are becoming calmer and calmer? He couldn't charm her even like this? One had to know that the eyes of the surrounding girls were all flashing with desire, wishing that they could leap into Long Fei's embrace. Who doesn't like this kind of powerhouse? But the Panther girl was simply too calm. "Do you want to force me to use my trump card?" Long Fei muttered in his heart. If he still could not attract her attention even like this, then he could only activate charm value. 100 charm value S was unstoppable. Cough, cough. An elder of Songlan College walked up with a smile on his face and said, "Big brother, you have passed the examination. Now, you are an official disciple of Songlan College." If such a terrifying genius were to join the Songlan College, the influence that the Songlan College would have would definitely be even greater. However, Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Songlan College? Disciple? Not interested." He refused without thinking. Long Fei was not the least bit interested. He was probably the only one who could reject Songlan College so straightforwardly. You know, Songlan College was the #1 school in Songlan Continent, the Warrior Dream Hall. However, he did not even think about it for a second and instantly rejected it. The surrounding people were also stunned. He did not understand. If he did not want to join the Songlan College, then why would he undergo the assessment? Long Fei turned to the leopard girl and said, "Let's go." However, the leopard girl did not move. She walked up to the back of the fire wolf head and said, "Elder, did you pass my test?" Long Fei was startled. That elder looked at the leopard girl, then looked at Long Fei and said, Your results have not reached this year's standards. The leopard girl's gaze slightly darkened, carrying a trace of loneliness. Long Fei felt his heart ache. He stared at the elder and said, "Old man, say it again." The elder smiled slightly and said, "Little brother, if you can enter Songlan College, I can make an exception and make her an official disciple of Songlan College." The leopard girl's eyes shone with a trace of light as she looked at Long Fei. She wanted to enter the Songlan College. Very much. Because only those who entered the Songlan College would have the chance to be chosen to enter the Universal Realm. She wanted to enter the Universal Realm. She really wanted to. Long Fei looked at the leopard girl and asked, "Do you really want to enter the academy?" The leopard girl did not hesitate and directly said, "If you want, can you help me?" Her words caused Long Fei to be stunned for a moment and said, "It couldn't be that a boy is waiting for you in the academy, right?" The leopard girl shook her head. "No, only by entering the Songlan College would I have the chance to be chosen to enter the Universal Realm. I want to enter the Universal Realm. 100 years have passed. He should be entering the Universal Realm very soon." Damn. Long Fei's heart sank and thought to himself, "Damn, so there was someone in your heart. System, you are asking me to poach? This isn't a good thing, is it? The difficulty level is very high. No wonder it's a super mission." Long Fei muttered in his heart, then looked at the leopard girl with serious eyes and said, "For you, I can do anything." And then, Elder of Long Fei Academy said, "All right, I agree." The elder's eyes flashed with excitement. Good, good, good. From now on, you two are both disciples of Songlan College. You can immediately enter the Songlan College to study. Come with me." The elders were afraid that Long Fei would slip away, so they directly grabbed onto his hand and personally brought him to the Songlan College. Many people around him were looking at him. Among them, an old man had a special gaze, staring at Long Fei gloomily. Long Fei felt it, but not on purpose. Of course, this was because Long Fei didn't know that the old man was an elder of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan. When Lin Tianhao was killed, the elders of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan did not recklessly make their move. He started to feel that Long Fei was extraordinary and had to figure out Long Fei's identity no matter what. Moreover, he had to report this to the Gods tribe as well. The Songlan College was located at the highest point of the entire Songlan city. It was the #1 school in Songlan continent. It was also a gathering place for geniuses. Long Fei and the leopard girl were brought into the Songlan College and into a hall. The great hall was already filled with dozens of elders. As soon as they saw Long Fei entering, some of them slightly frowned. Some of them brought with them some danger, while some revealed cold, scornful smiles. "Huang Qian, is this the person you brought? He doesn't look any different from an ordinary person. I can't see what kind of special gifts and blood vein this person has. So how could he be worthy enough for all of us to come? I think it's just SOSO. Kid, let's test your talent and blood vein first. Songlan College does not accept trash." Inherent skill, blood vein, in any plane was the standard method to test whether a person was a genius or not. The words in the hall were filled with disdain. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up, and similarly, he said in disdain, "I don't have talent, and I don't have any blood vein, but compared to trash like you, it's more than enough. A senior elder of the Songlan College? Do I have to put in my eyes? Disdain of your father? You have the right. You made me feel bad, but how could I make you feel good?" Ever since he had merged with the first power, Black and White, Long Fei's temperament had changed as he became even more arrogant. The dragon's own personality was the same. As soon as he finished, fearing that the Lin family's tragedy would occur again, Huang Qian's expression darkened. He immediately said, "Elders, don't be angry. This is his character. I can guarantee that his talent will shock every one of you." It was also at this time. A middle-aged man holding a large blade rushed into the hall filled with killing intent. With a wave of his large blade, the Octotera blade chi was completely smashed towards Long Fei, and he bellowed, "Return my Lin family's lives." Chapter 2700, Blue Mist President. Chapter 2700, Blue Mist President, he suddenly rushed out without any warning. The eyes of all the elders in the hall tightened. Lin Zhao's cultivation was not low at all. Moreover, the saber technique he trained in was extremely exquisite. One saber could cut through life and death. It could be said that not many below the 7th rank would be able to withstand the saber strike. Plus, this was a sneak attack. He was even more unable to resist it. Huang Qian's eyes narrowed as he called out to Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao, stop. The expression on the faces of the elders in the hall changed, but a lot of people sneered in ridicule. Arrogant? Now we're going to die. Too fast. No one could stop him. However, the corner of Long Fei's eyes twitched. Without waiting for Lin Zhao's blade to fall, he kicked out explosively. Bam! Lin Xiao flew out of the main hall and flew hundreds of meters away before he crashed into a wall and collapsed. His abdomen was shattered as his eyeballs burst out and his body convulsed a few times. Dead. Ding! Long Fei leveled up one more level. From start to finish, Long Fei did not even glance at them. He was quite domineering. Many clan elders in the arena suddenly stood up and looked at Long Fei in unison. There was amazement in his eyes. There was also killing intent. A disciple ran into the hall and said, "Senior brother Lin Xiao has died." Immediately, the main hall was in an uproar. "Brat, your methods are too vicious. What are you trying to do to be so ruthless and take someone's life with one move? Someone like that definitely can't stay in the academy. Moreover, look at his body. It's all covered in strange marks. He's the one who cursed, so he's definitely not a good person. We can't let him stay." After discussing, Long Fei did not mind at all. Huang Qian tried his best to persuade Yi Chun, but his voice was drowned out by the words of Yi Wan, and he had no strength to defend himself. Leopard Girl also looked at Long Fei in astonishment. "Everyone be quiet. Everyone quiet down." One of the great clan elders' voices sank as he suppressed the voice within the great hall. After that, he looked at Long Fei and asked, "What do you have to say?" Long Fei shrugged, "No." The great elders said, "Nothing at all." Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, "If you must say something, there is one sentence you can say as well." The great elder asked, "What?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up slightly and lightly smiled. "I want to say, everyone here are all trash." Boom! His words were like a bolt of lightning. What was this? This is called looking down on the Tsanglan College. He was looking down on all the elders in the hall. Aren't you being too arrogant? At this point, he had no way to defend himself. He simply did not know how to defend himself, because Long Fei's words had infuriated the masses. "You're courting death. Brat, you're too arrogant. With your character, you don't have the qualifications to enter Tsanglan College. If you call us trash, then what are you?" I definitely do not approve of him entering the Tsanglan College. I don't agree either. I disagree. He had angered the masses. Long Fei looked at the elders who were desperate and impatient, laughed coldly, and said, "It was clearly the other party who ambushed me first. You guys didn't think about it for me. So what are you saying that you have to feel sorry for the person who ambushed you? Sympathy for the weak? Show your kindness? If that's not trash, then what is?" I said trash like all of you are light. Unconvinced. What kind of logic was this? Long Fei's words were like gasoline poured onto their anger. Everyone was even more furious. Long Fei sneered and said, "If you don't accept it, you can come up and challenge me. I will accept any challenge, but you all must prepare yourself because I won't be lenient." Arrogant. Too arrogant. "I'll do it. Kid, let's see how long you can stay arrogant for." As they spoke, several elders walked out. Long Fei was completely unafraid. However, just as they were about to make their move, a deep voice called out, "Everyone stop." As soon as his voice faded, the great hall quietened down instantly, and Long Fei's state of mind sank a little as he felt the strong pressure. Powerhouse? The elders in the hall trembled slightly, not daring to speak a word. Half a second later, a figure approached. It seemed very far away, but it instantly landed in the main hall. An old man in his 60s or 70s appeared somewhat slovenly, but the aura exuded from his body was very unusual. It was completely different from the aura of the senior elders in the hall, the aura of the powerhouse. The elders bowed. Dean, the slovenly old man looked at Long Fei and asked, "Are you willing to cultivate with me?" Directly. Very direct. All the elders in the hall were stunned. It had to be known that the dean had never accepted disciples, but now he wanted to accept disciples. How much did he care about this arrogant and ignorant brat in front of him? However, Long Fei still said coldly, "Not interested." She completely ignored him. Many of the elders said angrily, "Don't fail to appreciate the kindness. The dean has never accepted a disciple before. It's your fortune to be chosen by him for 8 lifetimes. Kid, you should know how to be arrogant." The slovenly old man's eyes narrowed. He smiled and said, "That's good. You don't need to call me master. Our friends treat each other well. Can you follow me and cultivate?" Everyone in the hall was shocked. Descending his status? Do you think so highly of him? This was the principal of the Songlan College. He was a perfect Songlan continent. He rarely appeared before, but now he actually lowered himself to become friends with a brat, and that brat completely ignored him. Just when Long Fei wanted to refuse, the slovenly old man, Idea, moved slightly and said, "Immortal Master Lu Yuan asked you to cultivate with me." Immortal Master Lu Yuan? Long Fei tensed up. Immediately, Long Fei looked at the slovenly old man and said, "You know." The sloppy-looking old man chuckled. "You've agreed? Since you've agreed, then come with me to cultivate." "Brat, this is not a good place to talk. Follow me. You don't have much time left." The elders of the Sky sect of Ling clan have already reported what happened here to the God's tribe. You were exposed too quickly. The Idea communicated anxiously. Long Fei's eyes became tight. Sky sect of Ling clan? F***CK. I forgot that the God's tribe has set up this surveillance organization on many different planes. At the same time, Long Fei thought about the eyes of the old man. The corners of his mouth hooked up as he said solemnly, "The 10,000 world chasing order has been activated, right? Come, kill as many as you want. I was just worried that I wouldn't be able to find the God's tribe dog." Long Fei was not afraid. He had a stomach full of fire at Zhenwu continent. The old man sent mentally, "You have to leave this place as soon as possible. Come with me." Finished. The slovenly old man did not wait for Long Fei to reject. He directly grabbed his hand and immediately flew out. Long Fei was startled. He looked at the leopard girl and was carried away by the slovenly old man before he could say anything. Sky sect of Ling clan. The pavilion master knelt on the ground, his eyes filled with shock. Long Fei. He is Long Fei? And then the pavilion master stood up and immediately said, "Immediately send someone to keep an eye on that boy. Initiate 10,000 worlds chasing order. A lot of powerhouse will be appearing soon. Against the God's tribe? No matter who it is, they must die." Chapter 2701, The Furthest Distance. Chapter 2701, The Furthest Distance at the Peak of the Blue Mist. The slovenly old man stopped and looked up into the sky, as if he were waiting for something. Long Fei, who was standing behind him, also looked at the sky and could not help but ask, "What are you doing here?" The sky was blue and cloudless. There was nothing special about it. Huff! The slovenly old man let out a light breath, then sat down cross-legged and said, "My cultivation is already at the great circle of the Songlan continent. I can initiate the baptism of heavenly tribulation and allow your flying into the virtual to step into the universal realm. Are you ready?" Long Fei stared blankly for a moment, then said, "You want me to enter universal realm in your place?" Not just a substitute. This was a form of protection, because this way, Long Fei would enter the universal realm as the old man and not be discovered. This result was the slovenly old man would die. The slovenly old man replied, "Yes, this is the only method that you can use to avoid the God's tribe's 10,000 worlds hunting order. This is also the only method that you can think of. All right, prepare yourself. I will immediately activate the divine retribution." He did not say that he would die. His life was given to him by the immortal master Lu Yuan. Back then, he had already promised to never refuse anything. The human emperor disappeared. The immortal master Lu Yuan had to help Long Fei with all of her strength. Long Fei immediately said, "Wait first." The slovenly old man said, "You don't have much time left. The pavilion master of the Sky sect of Ling clan must have already sent the news to the God's tribe. It won't be long before this plane attracts all the other powerhouses from different realms. At that time, you won't be able to escape." The 10,000 worlds kill order was too terrifying. It was like a locust swarm. The moment it found a target, it would pounce on it violently. After all, the rewards given by the Emperor Xian were simply too tempting, and no one could resist them. Furthermore, with the God's tribe's absolute hegemony in the universal realm, even if there were no rewards, there would be a lot of powerhouse chasing after Long Fei in order to curry favor with him. Long Fei said, "It's fine if you want me to leave, but there are some things that I haven't finished." The slovenly old man asked, "What do you want? Didn't you just enter the Songlan continent?" "The most important thing right now is how you will avoid the pursuit of the powerhouse of 10,000 realms." The matter regarding the leopard girl had not been resolved yet. Not yet. He couldn't just leave like this. Moreover, the leopard girl was currently very weak. If she really was one of the Seven Meridians' mission, then she was his woman. Naturally, he had to protect his woman well. In addition, there was also one more thing, the Sky sect of Ling clan, the monitoring point of the God's tribe, to leak information. This made him very unhappy, and when he saw the God's tribe dog, he could not control the anger in his heart. Long Fei took a few steps back and said, "There are some things that I must do. If I don't do it now, I might regret it for the rest of my life." Finished. Long Fei flew in the air towards the direction of the palace. The slovenly old man's eyes narrowed, and he immediately flew into the air to give chase. In any case, he had to ensure Long Fei's safety. And then again, no matter what, he had to ensure that Long Fei's flying into the virtual entered the universal realm safely. This was a mission that he had been waiting for his entire life. He knew very well in his heart that his lifespan was coming to an end. The leopard girl stood alone in the square. Looking at her surroundings, she felt a sense of unfamiliarity. Earlier, she had requested to enter W Pavilion, but he was met with a round of mockery. Only the super geniuses had the right to enter W Pavilion. Furthermore, her innate skills are all low class. At most, she can only become an ordinary disciple of the Songlan College. Her goal in entering the Songlan College was to enter W Pavilion and then find a way to enter the universal realm. Seeing the leopard girl alone in the plaza, Long Fei's heart ached. He lightly landed behind her and said with a slight smile, "I'm back." The leopard girl was stunned. She turned around to look at Long Fei, and at this moment, her heart was slightly moved. He didn't know why. It was as if she had been waiting for this image for a long time. At this moment, she wanted to jump into Long Fei's embrace, but she endured it in the end. After all, the man in front of her was not the person she was waiting for. 100 years, the vicissitudes of time. Long Fei remembered the seal, and after he entered the Zhenwu continent, his appearance changed. To the leopard girl, the person she would always remember was the Long Fei from when she was in God's martial continent. Now, she did not even know Long Fei's name, nor did she ask. She was not interested in any man in the world, because from the very beginning, her heart was always with Long Fei. This is perhaps the furthest distance in the world. A change in appearance. A memory seal. They faced each other, yet they did not know who the other was. The leopard girl's eyes regained her calm. Long Fei silently thought in his heart, "Still can't move her? How can I hit her?" Chasing girls was not Long Fei's strong point. Being seduced by a girl was the best. Ooh, Long Fei let out a light breath in his heart. Forget it. Open up all your charm value. He completely released the 100 hidden charm value as. Long Fei's appearance did not change, but his body was emitting an enchanting aura, one that was difficult to resist. Wow, so handsome. Senior brother, can I be your woman? Senior brother, do you lack a warm bed? Senior brother, I want to give you a child. All of a sudden, all of the female disciples in the plaza looked like they were thirsting for food and wanted to strip naked and throw themselves into Long Fei's embrace. Not just women, but also many men. With his charm value at full strength, he was unable to resist the temptation. Long Fei did not care about the surrounding voices, but rather looked at the leopard girl with affection. He took a small step forward and gently stroked the black hair on the leopard girl's forehead as he gently said, "Can you be my woman?" "Ah, ah!" The surrounding female disciple screamed. He even fainted. The leopard girl saw the expression in Long Fei's eyes, but she could not resist either. Her entire body seemed like it was about to melt as she uncontrollably nodded her head in agreement. But his mind slightly moved. In the next second, her body shrank back. Her eyes regained their calmness as she said, "No, I have someone in my heart. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in her heart. If she could even resist 100 points of charm value, then what kind of man is she hiding in her heart? Long Fei did not understand. 100 charm value could even enchant demon beastess. Not a woman now. How determined was this woman's heart? How much did she love a man? Long Fei immediately hid his charm value and recovered his expression. "All right, I won't force you. If you have anything you want me to do for you before I leave, I can help you with anything." Since he could even resist 100 points of charm value, Long Fei knew in his heart that he wouldn't be able to dig the corner of the leopard girl's head. He was slightly envious of the man in the leopard girl's heart. It was very rare to be able to make a woman so dedicated. Long Fei gave up. The leopard girl looked at Long Fei and said, "I want to enter W Pavilion. I want to go to Universal Realm." Chapter 2702, Sky Sect of Ling Clan Exterminate. Chapter 2702, Sky Sect of Ling Clan Exterminate. I want to go to Universal Realm. The leopard girl looked at Long Fei very resolutely. Seeing Long Fei's somewhat astonished expression, she knew that this was an impossible task and that no one could help her. The flying into the virtual could only rely on itself. No one could help her. The leopard girl lowered her head and smiled bitterly, very disappointed. To her, this was an extravagant hope, but she wasn't able to restrain herself from saying it out loud. However, just as she was at a loss, Long Fei said gently, "All right, I agree." The leopard girl raised her eyes and looked at Long Fei. In the distance, the slovenly old man was also stunned. The leopard girl said, "To enter the universal realm, one must have the flying into the virtual. Only a perfect stage powerhouse can do that. And to every perfect stage powerhouse, this is a lifelong gamble and also the wish of a lifetime. No one is willing to use their own cultivation to help others, because no matter if they succeed or fail, that person will die." Long Fei was startled and then looked towards the slovenly old man in the distance. He didn't know it just now. Now he knew. If the slovenly old man were to grant his wish, he himself would die. Long Fei was startled and looked at the leopard girl. "Don't worry, since I promised you, I will definitely do it. I have never broken my promise to others, and even more so, will never break my promise to a woman I like." The leopard girl looked at Long Fei and said, "I'm sorry, I can't like you. There's someone in my heart now." Long Fei smiled and said, "I know. All right, don't worry. Go to the peak of Blue Mist Mountain and wait for me there." Long Fei said, "I will be there in a day." The leopard girl looked at Long Fei and said, "One day, you have a way. Your cultivation." Long Fei said, "I have a way. Don't worry about that. Good boy. Be good and wait for me there." The leopard girl looked at Long Fei, then turned around and walked towards the direction of the peak of the blue mist. She was very moved, but she did not really believe that there was no one who would be willing to use her entire lifetime's worth of cultivation to help others. However, she was still headed towards the peak of the blue mist, because that was the tallest place in the Tsanglan continent, and also the place she thought to be the closest to the universal realm. It was the closest place she could get to her loved one. When the leopard girl walked far away, the slovenly old man walked over and said with a frown, "You wouldn't really let her into the universal realm. right? Your life is more important than anyone else's. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Face said, "Don't worry, I have a way." He didn't want the slovenly old man to sacrifice him. Moreover, perfect stage. To Long Fei, there was only a little more than 50 levels, which was just a little more than 50 monsters. Right now, he had enough experience points to break through the great perfection stage of the Songlan continent. The slovenly old man said frantically, "A solution? What could he do?" "The only way to enter the universal realm is to activate the heavenly tribulation. The flying into the virtual has no other way." Long Fei smiled lightly. "Yes, this is my method." The slovenly old man continued, "Only a perfection realm powerhouse can trigger a heavenly tribulation. What method do you have? Find another perfect powerhouse. But we still need their consent." Agree? Who would agree? Anyone, especially a pinnacle powerhouse of a plane, would definitely not agree to such a thing. Long Fei grinned. "It's only at the great complete realm. It's very fast. One day should be enough. And I happen to be able to do the second thing." The slovenly old man did not know how to react. He asked sluggishly, "What is it?" Long Fei took a step forward and headed out of Songlan College. From afar, he heard a voice, "Exterminate the Sky Sect of Ling Clan." Exterminate the Sky Sect of Ling Clan? What kind of place is the Sky Sect of Ling Clan? The slovenly old man didn't react for a moment. When he did, his expression changed greatly. "Boy, don't act recklessly. Don't act recklessly. It's a mess. It's going to be a mess." Immediately, the slovenly old man chased after him with all his might. Sky Sect of Ling Clan. The 10th floor. The pavilion master stood outside the window and looked up to the sky. The sky above the Songlan continent had already started to change, and dozens of places in the sky started to distort, forming a vortex. The sky twisted. The spirit energy in the Songlan continent became somewhat chaotic. Everyone on the continent raised their heads to stare at the sky. What's that? He was born peculiar. This is an ominous sign. Is something big going to happen? Is it some kind of spiritual treasure being born? The distortion is getting more and more intense. Will the heavens break? Not only was it above the Songlan city, it was also above the entire Songlan continent. This was true for the eastern border, as well as for the southern domain, northern territory, and western city. The sky began to twist and distort. The spiritual energy in the entire continent was getting more and more chaotic, making it impossible to cultivate. The pavilion master looked at the twisted spirals in the sky and laughed faintly. It's about to come, haha. I never thought that I would still be able to accomplish such a great deed in my lifetime. Once that fellow is caught, I could be promoted to the next rank and become a descendant of God's tribe. Ha! I'm glad. He never thought that he would attract so many powerhouses all of a sudden, at the same time. He also knew that Long Fei's identity wasn't simple. Just as he was feeling happy, a disciple of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan walked over and said, "Master, it's bad." The pavilion master's gaze darkened as he shouted, "What matter is this?" Panicking in panic. The disciple said, "The disciple you want us to watch will arrive at Sky Sect of Ling Clan soon." The pavilion master laughed coldly. "What is there to be anxious about? He probably thinks that he told us about the Lin family's experts being killed and wants to know his ranking in Sky Sect of Ling Clan, right? Any genius would want to know their ranking." And then, the pavilion master's voice sank as he coldly said, "Pass my order to set up a heaven rising formation. Whoever is able to kill him will become the pavilion master. Kit, this is where you die. Haha, you wouldn't even dream of setting up an inescapable net here, right? As long as you come in, you'll be in hell." The pavilion master smiled sinisterly. If he could kill Long Fei, it wouldn't be a big accomplishment. It would be a miraculous skill. His order was given. In less than half a second, the Sky Sect of Ling Clan had turned into an Azura killing field. The dragnet was ready. They were waiting for Long Fei to come in. 10 minutes later, Long Fei stood outside the Sky Sect of Ling Clan, looking at the 10-story tower as he muttered to himself, "It really is the exact same building inside the god capital. Sky sect of Ling clan. God tribe dog. Motherf asterisk cur. Breaking the news, right?" In that instant, Long Fei moved the space between his brows, and the idea landed on top of the supreme dragon knife's energy. Your power should still be around, right? Come. Boom. When the supreme dragon knife's energy fell into his hands, Long Fei's fists immediately surged with the chi inside his body. The energy under his right arm began to surge, and he slashed out. Chapter 2703. A Group of Dregs. Chapter 2703. A group of dregs. The shocking blade, chi slashed down. The 1,000-meter-tall blade, chi slashed down at the sky sect of Ling clan. Crack! The sky split open. The moment the blade, chi, touched the sky sect of Ling clan tower, it released a series of explosive sounds. Walala! 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 Boom! The 10th floor of the sky sect of Ling clan tower had collapsed. Boom! The 9th floor had collapsed. Boom! The 8th level is collapsing. Boom! He was unstoppable. One layer after another burst from the center of the sky sect of Ling clan tower. He was split into two. The entire Tsanglan city was dumbfounded. The sky sect of Ling clan is going to fall. The sky sect of Ling clan has collapsed. It's going to fall. His scalp went numb, and countless people cried out in alarm. They were unable to express the fear in their hearts. What did the sky sect of Ling clan represent? God tribe. The country could be destroyed, the sect could be destroyed, the academies could be destroyed, but no one dared to touch the sky sect of Ling clan. No one could bear such an outcome. The god tribe was supreme. Heavens, this was a godlike existence. No one would be stupid enough to oppose the heavens and gods. But now, the sky sect of Ling clan was divided into two, and after swaying for a few seconds, it fell down. Rumble, rumble. With two loud bangs, the entire Tsanglan city began to shake. This is bad. Off in the distance, the slovenly old man was frowning. He had come late. It was also at this time. Ding, ding, ding. A few notifications sounded out in Long Fei's mind, and his heart relaxed a little. Damn, they only killed a few people. At the same time, his level soared. Mary, there were actually more and more spectators. The elders of the Tsanglan College S, the aristocrats of the Tsanglan City S, and the powerhouse S of various great sects had all rushed over to watch. They saw Long Fei standing there alone. A man said in a deep voice, "Brat, are you crazy? Attacking Sky sect of Ling clan? Are you seeking death?" Long Fei looked at him and sneered, "I don't know if I'm courting death, but you're really courting death." Humph! A mere lame duck dares to do this. Not waiting for him to finish, the supreme dragon knife in Long Fei's hand moved slightly as he swung his blade chi. That person instantly fell to the ground. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Not a beep. Directly kill. When the blade landed, the eyes of many sunk. A hint of fear appeared on his face. But even more people were sneering, because those who dared to make a move against the sky sect of Ling clan had yet to live. Boom! An intense explosion resounded from the ruins as the dust was crushed down. An old man stood in mid-air, his eyes burning with anger, and said with a heavy voice, "You dog, you are tired of living. Today this old man will let you know the might of the god's tribe." In that instant, a divine light appeared on the old man's body. It was incomparably dazzling. The surrounding people instantly became excited. It's the pavilion master of the sky sect of Ling clan. He's a powerhouse of the great complete realm. Kid, let's see how you can continue being so arrogant. Now you're going to die? Ha ha. He's courting death. Many of the people nearby began to loudly laugh at him. Long Fei raised his eyes slightly, looked at the pavilion master who was floating in midair, and coldly said, "There isn't even a light coming from the boss. I thought it was at least a boss. I'm so disappointed. Don't tell me there isn't even a boss in this plane." Long Fei was extremely disdainful. Looking at the divine light on the pavilion master's body, he said indifferently, "Don't waste your expression. No matter what you do, you will die." So what if he was a paragon? This kind of perfect stage powerhouse-s were useless to Long Fei. Even Jun Wu continent of the Jun Wu continent were instantly killed. So this plane was only slightly stronger than the Jun Wu continent. How strong was powerhouse of the great perfection stage? Humph! The pavilion master snorted and said, "The one who died was you." His voice sank. The pavilion master moved both of his palms, and the godly light from his palms came crashing down in an earth-shattering manner. The slovenly old man's eyes tensed up. He moved his body and immediately stood in front of Long Fei, blocking his attack. Rumble! Rumble! The sloppy-looking old man retreated with explosive speed. The pavilion master's body, which was suspended in midair, trembled slightly. His eyes were vicious as he stared at the slovenly old man and said, "Old demon Songlan, are you sure you want to go against the god's tribe? Do you know what the consequences are?" The slovenly old man smiled faintly. "Pavilion master, don't scare me like that. I'm a person who isn't scared. I don't want to go against the god's tribe. He is a disciple of my Songlan college. As the principal, I have the duty and responsibility to protect him." And then, he said in a low voice, "Kid, quickly leave." Long Fei did not move. The pavilion master sneered. "Protect disciples? I think you are courting death. You know who he is. You should know what it means to have a warped space in the sky. I don't mind making it clear to you. He is someone that the god's tribe wants to kill. If you dare protect him again, you will be going against the god's tribe. Now scram to the side." The sloppy Taoist still had a calm smile on his face. "And if I don't leave, then die." His hands under his robes suddenly moved. This time, the power of the divine light was even more powerful. He was already prepared to take action. The slovenly old man's face tightened, and he instantly charged forward. Long Fei said lightly, "You're too weak. It's better to rest at the side. A god tribe dog like you. I can fight 10,000. He did not want to waste time, and did not want to waste time with the Sky Sect of Ling Clan Lord. His figure moved, and he directly jumped into the air. The idea moved, decaying power absorb. Boom! A huge vortex of energy appeared on Long Fei's palm, and the moment the divine light power rushed towards him, it was instantly sucked into Long Fei's decaying power. Not only that, the pavilion master was also drawn over, had grabbed him by the neck, and used all the strength in his 2 fingers. Gotcha! The joints exploded. The aura of the pavilion master was being pulled out crazily as her body twitched uncontrollably. Ancient, power of ancient inheritance, ancient. Long Fei said indifferently. "Not bad. You still have some experience." The pavilion master said gloomily, "Brat, you won't be able to escape. Have you seen the distorted space that filled the sky? They're all powerhouse-s who have come from different planes. You can't escape, huh? The 10,000 world chasing order has been activated. As long as there are places with God's tribe powers, you will be endlessly hunted down." "Ha ha!" The pavilion master smiled. The corners of Long Fei's lips curled up slightly. 10,000 worlds kill order? You don't even know who is chasing who. It's useless to talk nonsense with you, because you're a dead man now. As soon as he finished, Long Fei fiercely exploded the energy he had absorbed and struck the pavilion master in the chest with his palm. His body turned into smithereens. Ding! The system sounded out. Since it wasn't even a boss, Long Fei couldn't be bothered to listen. Looking at the sky that was filled with spirals, the corners of his eyes slightly narrowed. The 10,000 worlds to kill? A bunch of dregs. Chapter 2704, Great Perfection. Chapter 2704, Great Perfection. He was just worrying about not being able to find a target to level up with. The pursuit of 10,000 worlds? An expert of 10,000 realms. Powerhouse? I will kill as many as I can. Moreover, from the Zhenwu continent to the Songlan continent, since experience points could be superimposed, then that meant when he leveled up to perfection in Songlan continent, his experience points would also stack up. Once inside the universal realm, he would immediately go all the way up to the sky. That was great. Thus, Long Fei looked up into the sky, the corners of his mouth slightly hooked up, and he said, "I'm just afraid that you won't come." To be able to kill the presbyter of God's tribe, how strong was the power of his black and white fusion? So what if you're a powerhouse of 10,000 realms? So what if it was a divine Buddha? Whoever came would die. This person is crazy. This man is crazy. He's definitely crazy. The Sky Sect of Ling Clan was the symbol of the God's tribe. But not only did Long Fei cut the Sky Sect of Ling Clan into two, he even killed the Pavilion Master of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan. This was a war with the God's tribe. If he wasn't crazy, then what was he? The slovenly old man also frowned. He immediately pulled Long Fei and said, "It's too late. You must leave immediately." The twisting spiral grew larger and larger in the sky, and it wouldn't be long before the powerhouse would rush out to kill him. He wouldn't be able to leave even if he wanted to. Long Fei did not move and said, "No rush." The slovenly old man said, "My little ancestor, can you consider me begging? Stop staying, if not, Immortal Master Lu Yuan's efforts will be in vain." How am I supposed to explain this to him? And the slovenly old man looked at Long Fei and said, "Think about your Zhenwu continent. The longer you stay here, the more danger this Songlan continent will be. Let's go." It was very likely that the Songlan continent would be like the Zhenwu continent. A destruction cannon directly wiped the continent out of the universal realm. God's tribe could do it easily. Long Fei frowned. Thinking about what had happened in Zhenwu continent, his fists clenched tightly. He looked up at the sky. Just at this moment, the Sky Sect of Ling Clan guards who had laid down an inescapable trap in the middle of the Sky Sect of Ling Clan's ruins crawled up one after another, and they looked at Long Fei with the intent to escape. However, even God's tribe dogs have to die. Long Fei's figure moved. The aura on his body seemed to explode. Boom! One person fell to the ground. Ding! The system sounded out. Boom! Ding! Another person fell to the ground. At this moment, Long Fei was like a god of death, waving the scythe of death one by one, harvesting crazily. At the same time, the system beep S in his mind also sounded crazily. Ding! 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 Over 100 billion experience points quickly decreased as well. Every time a person was killed, the experience points would decrease by a lot because the amount of experience needed to level up would increase as well. The surrounding people all felt their scalps go numb when they saw this. The slovenly old man was also at a loss. If the Pavilion Master was already dead, what was the point of killing so many people? There was no need at all. At the same time, the slovenly old man felt the aura on Long Fei's body, and his heart trembled further. My aura is constantly getting stronger, and just now, I was still level 40. This speed? Who the hell is he? If it wasn't for Immortal Master Lu Yuan, he wouldn't think highly of someone who didn't have talent or blood vein, and he also didn't understand why the Immortal Master Lu Yuan would help him. Nothing special. Now he knew. The strength from Long Fei's body was something that he couldn't reach at his level. Boom! Boom! All of you must die. The sound of a blade slashing rang out. At this moment, Long Fei's levels seemed to go berserk. The aura from his body. His level. It's constantly improving. What's going on? Level 1 man. Level 1. Can he achieve a breakthrough? Just who is he? So what if he is being pursued by the 10,000 worlds? Could it be that those twisted vortexes in the sky are all aimed at him? President. Who is he? Seeing Long Fei's cultivation break through crazily. All of them were stunned. How could someone break through like that? Even a monstrous genius wouldn't be able to do such a thing. Not human at all. The slovenly old man looked at Long Fei and shook his head. I don't know either. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever he went, he died. 100 Sky Sect of Ling Clan's guards were instantly slaughtered. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Sky Sect of Ling Clan guard. Rewards: 100 experience points, 10 points of spirit energy. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 120. The Great Perfection Stage. 180 billion experience points had also been used up. No more upgrades. Long Fei stopped, clenching his fists tightly. He exhaled a breath of air. He felt the energy in his body and smiled. My cultivation has reached the maximum. One day, the feeling of leveling up is so F***king amazing. It's like I'm playing with my own F***king private property. Even a private servant didn't feel this way. Level 120 in one day. How valiant was this? The slovenly old man felt the chi on Long Fei's body. His eyes shook, and he swallowed hard. Your cultivation, Long Fei said indifferently. Perfection. It was also at this time. Long Fei moved his idea, activating flying into the virtual. Ding! System notification. Do you wish to undergo tribulation and ascend? As expected, I can activate this power at the Great Perfection Stage. No, Long Fei only tried it out. He did not plan to enter the universal realm right now. The reason he had reached the Great Perfection Stage was to test himself, and he also had another goal. The Great Perfection Stage was enough to completely unleash the power of the cultivation in the Songlan continent. He could fly into the void. He could fight against the powerhouse of 10,000 realms in outer space. This was what Long Fei wanted to do the most. The slovenly old man said excitedly, "That'll be even better. You'll be able to safely ascend into the skies and leave this place. Let's hurry up and begin." He looked at the sky and said, "It's almost too late." Long Fei maintained his calm expression and said, "No rush. Now that I have the power of the flying into the virtual, I don't need you to sacrifice yourself. In addition, son of a god's tribe, chasing after me, I'll just wait and see who the F***king wants to kill." As soon as he finished, the aura of Long Fei's great complete realm moved. Boom! His figure shuttled through the sky like a rocket, heading straight for the Songlan continent's outer space. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Also at this time, a man with a long sword on his back walked out from the spiral space. "I am the first, and your life is mine now." Before he could finish, the aura of the man was like an oppressive pressure that crazily came crushing down. The flying sword on his back moved. A golden light flashed. The man shouted in a deep voice, "Flying sword taking life. Kid, obediently accept your death." Chapter 2705, Long Fei, this big boss. Chapter 2705, Long Fei, this big boss. The flying sword was like lightning as it pierced forward. It carried an incomparable amount of power and pressure. This power, from the looks of the Songlan continent, it was as if a golden lightning bolt had streaked across the sky. Crap! The slovenly old man's eyes narrowed. Why didn't you listen to him? Songlan continent is merely a lower plane. Can it be compared with those middle and higher plane powerhouse? Be it in terms of strength or pressure, they're not on the same level. Not a match. Different planes and different laws. There are different types of planes, and the corresponding power was the same. The higher the plane, the more powerful the warriors would be. Even the lowliest warriors would be more powerful than the lowliest powerhouse. Even if Long Fei had only just broken through to the Great Perfection Stage, she was still only at the Great Perfection Stage of the Songlan continent. The slovenly old man was extremely frantic, but he knew that there was no use in being impatient. Long Fei was too young. He was young and arrogant. Facing the 10,000 world powerhouse, the first thing he should do was to avoid them and develop in a wretched way. After that, he would come out and do it. Too young. Sigh. Lord Immortal, I'll do my best. The slovenly old man shook his head and sighed. Many people from Songlan continent looked up at the sky and sneered. He was overestimating himself. This was the result. The flying sword was like lightning, arriving in the blink of an eye. Long Fei stood proudly in the outer space as a boundless pressure pressed down from all directions, as if four super ferocious demon beasts were pinching his neck. It was very hard. Long Fei let out a small breath and asked, "This is the outer space powerhouse. This is the powerhouse of a high plane. It's really different." Very Tsanglan continent. The powerhouses on top of them were completely different. The aura emitted from their bodies alone was already exceptionally strong. However, as Long Fei looked at the flying sword, the corner of his mouth slightly curled as he coldly said, "No matter how strong he is, he's still a God's tribe dog. If it's a God tribe dog, then it has to die." Boom! With a flip of his left hand, the underworld fire appeared. Ding! Target locked. Fire! Long Fei yelled, as he released the underworld fire's power the moment he locked onto it. At the same time, he also charged forward. His right hand moved. Decaying power. Drink it. The underworld fire was burning. The man's eyes darkened. Ancient inheritance power. On your body. Underworld fire. Legacy of the Ming clan. No wonder the rewards for the Emperor Xian were so generous. You actually have the power of the ancient inheritance. Haha. This time, I've struck the jackpot. You've only cultivated the power of such a powerful Ming clan inheritance to its core. Giving it to you would be a waste. Kid, leave it to me. The man laughed excitedly. He looked even more ferocious. His appearance looked just like when Long Fei saw the boss. Indeed, to him, Long Fei was now a boss. A boss with a strange treasure on its body and a super boss shining brightly. How could he let go? Long Fei frowned. The underworld fire could kill the Ocean King, but did not deal much damage to the man. It could be seen that the Ocean King was just a small fry in the universal realm. Couldn't even be considered a powerhouse. Long Fei tensed up. The decaying power in his right hand was absorbing the flying sword, causing his palm to constantly hurt, as though it was going to be pierced by the flying sword. His body was also retreating. Another wave of ancient inheritance. Haha, 2 ancient inheritance s rich. I'm rich. I'm really going to make a fortune today. The man was even more excited. His eyes shone brightly, looking at Long Fei as though he wanted to swallow him up. Saliva dripped from the corner of his mouth. It had the exact same expression as when Long Fei saw the boss. Long Fei's heart trembled. Damn, I become a boss. It's mine. It's all mine. The man's eyes darkened. He turned and surged in power, rushing towards Long Fei like a layer of sky above the Tsanglan continent, ferocious to the point of chaos. TL. However, at this moment, another spiral of space exploded as a powerhouse flew out. Boom! A single chi overturned the power released by the flying swordman. Rumble. That. An old man with silver hair walked out while stroking his body. He looked at Long Fei, who was not far away with a sinister smile on his lips, and said, "Those who see will get a share." Who said it's yours? The flying sword man's eyes darkened. You want to steal my business? Old ghost, do you know who I am? Who is my master? Little kid, don't be so rude. Your master won't be able to save you when the time comes. The sinister old man's lips quirked into a cold sneer. Moreover, as he spoke, his gaze was fixated on Long Fei. His eyes flashed with excitement. Just like the man with the flying sword, his eyes were sparkling. In his eyes, Long Fei had also become a big boss. The flying sword man shouted, "Old ghost, everyone needs to be cautious about first come, first serve. If I found him first, then his life is mine. However, this is the world of Powerhouse, where big fishes eat small fishes. Now that I have come, there is nothing left for you to do. Otherwise, I would have eaten this small shrimp of yours as well." The flying sword man was a small shrimp. Was Long Fei seaweed? A plankton? The flying sword man's expression became gloomy. At this moment, another spiral of space exploded. Haha. A big fish eating small fish is not bad, but what about my whale? All of you get out of the way. He's mine. Rumble. A loud explosion resounded. Another powerhouse broke through the void. His eyes stared straight at Long Fei. 2 sets of ancient inheritances power, plus this reward of 1 ancient inheritance. Ha! It's all mine. The old man's eyes darkened when he saw this. Obviously, this man was stronger than him. However, the third man had not finished fighting when another loud sound came from the sky, and an old woman slowly walked out. Her face was gloomy, and her eyes shone with a bright light as she stared at Long Fei and said, "The whale is indeed powerful, but it is not as powerful as my poisonous widow, so all of you, get out of the way. This little child is mine now. He's eating it right now to mend my palace. TSK tisk. Boom, boom, boom." The twisted spiral spaces in the sky exploded one after another. They were all powerhouse from different planes, and they were all extremely powerful. These were all powerhouse from the higher planes. The 10,000 worlds chasing order. Although there weren't 10,000 powerhouse, there were at least 100 of them. They were all powerhouse. It was the same boss. All of them stared at Long Fei like tigers stalking their prey, drooling at the corners of their mouths. The same. Long Fei was the same, drooling. Advertisement. Advertisement in their eyes. Long Fei was a boss that they were drooling over. In Long Fei's eyes, these people were all super bosses. Who killed who? Who dares to do it? Out of 100 outer space powerhouses, their strength could be said to be able to completely crush Long Fei. For this, they were arguing fiercely. He's mine. I came first. I found him first. He's mine. The old Wong next door to my wife's house is an outer disciple of God's tribe. Whoever dares to argue with me, be careful that I won't be polite with him. I bid 10 million grand Miss Crystals. F*CK. I bid 100 million. Give me, Wong Daji, some face. Give him to me. Who the fuck are you? I was hanging myself for a long time. Stop talking. I'm a member of the Murder's Palace. He's the target of our assassination mission. Whoever dares to go against our sect, be careful. I might send all of their members onto the killing list. Who the hell is the Palace of Destiny? Scram. The argument was untenable. No one wanted to miss this opportunity to soar into the sky. It was not only the Emperor Xian's rewards. Just the 2 ancient inheritance on Long Fei's body were enough to make them go crazy. Who could obtain it? It had to be known that the current ancient inheritance was basically controlled by the God tribe. Whoever could obtain one would rise to the sky in a single step. Possessing an extremely powerful status and power in the universal realm, and even being able to directly become a presbyter of God's tribe. This was an opportunity that could not be missed by anyone. While everyone was arguing, Long Fei was a little free. No one present took him seriously. It was as if he was a fish on the chopping block and could be slaughtered immediately. This made Long Fei a little unhappy. However, he was not idle at all. Seeing the last powerhouse walk out from within the spiral space, the corner of Long Fei's lips curled up as he said with a gentle smile, "You're more or less done, right?" The audience fell silent. They all looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said, "It's been so long, it's so noisy. Kid, are you getting impatient? We gave you a few more seconds to live. You think you can escape? For trash like you from the lower planes, it would be a waste for you to have the power of 2 ancient inheritances handed over obediently." Many people were displeased. They started arguing again. Long Fei said, "He." And then, Long Fei said loudly, "Quiet. Everyone quiet down for a moment. Listen to me." The scene was silent again. "What are you going to say? You have no right to speak here. You bastard, just wait for your death. Everyone, let's see what he has to say. Let's see what this trash can say." 100 powerhouses looked at Long Fei. Long Fei's mouth hooked up, revealing a disdainful cold smile, and said arrogantly, "Forgive my bluntness, but everyone here is trash." The 10,000 world chasing order. Haha, I will turn you guys upside down. With that, the entire hall fell silent, so quiet that it made people panic. At this moment, the eyes of the man who arrived first darkened. The flying sword on his back abruptly unfurled and changed to 18. Shwa shwa shwa. 18 rays of light turned into 18 streaks of lightning, shooting in all directions. The entire sky seemed to be split open. Space itself shattered. Endless amounts of power crazily rushed at Long Fei. It was completely different from the power of the previous flying sword. This power, it was abnormally fierce and powerful. The flying sword man also said with disdain, "Trash, are you the only one who dares to be so arrogant in front of us? You don't even have a right, do you?" The sky above Songlan continent seemed to have been cut open. A golden net appeared. The eyes of the people on the Songlan continent all darkened. "He's finished. He's dead for sure." At the peak of the blue mist, the leopard girl looked at the sky. Her gaze didn't have much of a ripple, only a bitter smile. She looked into the sky and muttered, "Hubby, it seems like I won't be able to see you again. I missed you so much. Have you reached Universal Realm yet? Did you find Big Sister Lu Luashi and the others? Have you found Qian? Have you found Sister Jojo? I missed you guys so much." The leopard girl smiled bitterly. From the gods' martial continent to here, it had been 100 years, and there was nothing she could do. Her talent was not high. There were no special blood vein that she could break through, and on this continent, she was unable to do so. Even at Songlan College was not able to pass the examination no matter what, and could only look up at the sky from head to toe. She wanted to stand a little higher each time, because to her, this meant that she was a little closer to Long Fei. She waited at the peak of the blue mist. She hadn't reported any hope to begin with, but now that she looked at the cracked sky, the sliver of hope in her heart immediately disappeared. As she spoke, tears welled up in the leopard girl's eyes. He cried. She did not know who the Long Fei in the outer space of the Songlan continent was. If he knew, it's over, it's all over. There's nothing we can do now. Sigh. Kid, why didn't you listen to me? The slovenly old man said in heartache. Long Fei had angered the masses, let alone the 100 outer space powerhouses. He couldn't even take them all alone. Looking at the 18 flying swords that turned into interweaving lightning bolts and smashed towards Long Fei, the 100 powerhouses sneered, all of them carrying expressions of contempt. Humph, you overestimate yourself. Who do you think you are? So just because you have 2 ancient inheritances worth of power, you can go to the heavens? Do you even know what kind of low cultivation you are? It's simply impossible to cultivate the power of the ancient inheritance to an even higher realm in the lower planes. Only the universal realm that is closest to the ancient world is the best plane to cultivate in. Give him a lesson. Let's see if he still dares to be arrogant. They all looked at Long Fei with contempt. To them, Long Fei was too weak. It was nothing more than a pile of dregs from the lower planes. From the beginning to end, they did not put Long Fei in their eyes, as anyone could take care of him. However, they seemed to not know what happened to the Zhenwu realm. They did not know that the golden armor bodyguard was killed by Long Fei, and they did not know that the presbyter of God's tribe was sucked into a dried-up corpse by Long Fei. If he knew about this, just as the 18 flying swords descended like lightning, Long Fei's eyes became gloomy. The dragon-shaped mark under his right arm slightly moved. The draconic scales exploded one by one. At this moment, the voice from the dragon-shaped mark's space sounded out. Think about it carefully. Your body won't be able to withstand this power. If this power exceeds the limit, your body will probably explode. Long Fei said, "Don't talk to me like that. Let's just do it. Why are you so cowardly? Aren't you very arrogant?" The voice of the dragon-shaped mark immediately became angry. "I submit. F***CK. I'll let you know how crazy I am. Black and white power. Open. Rumble." In that instant, Long Fei's body began to change. Chapter 2707. Whose Instant Kill? Chapter 2707. Whose instant kill what was black and white? Darkness. Light is white. The power beneath the dragon-shaped mark was released, and the most primitive power, which was also the power that slowly evolved from the most primitive black and white when the world first opened up, slowly opened up from Long Fei's body. Before, it was only a power that he had released, but Long Fei had not clearly felt it before. When the power was released from his body, he could truly sense what the black and white power was. Buzz! Boom! When he released his power, the axis of Long Fei's body suddenly turned pitch black. Eyes, skin, and even the blood-colored dragon scales on his right arm caused his clothes to turn black in an instant, as if it was the void of darkness. Standing on the outer space, it was as if Long Fei's body had disappeared in half. In that instant, boom, another tremor ran through his body. Next, the other half around him became pure white. Hair, eyes, body on the left, pure white. Just like how Xiuna Bai's white light shone on his body. One side was black, while the other side was white. This scene was like a confrontation between darkness and light. The aura of power was very calm, without the slightest ripple, but, however, Long Fei's body was like a thunderclap roaring, and the enormous wave rolled about 30,000 meters away. He couldn't control it. His body was unceasingly being attacked. The moment the power of black and white was released, the system sounded out a prompt. Ding! System notification. Your strength is too great. Players' bodies can only last 1 minute and 30 seconds. Ding! System notification. Your strength is too great. Players' bodies can only last 1 minute and 30 seconds. Ding! System notification. Your strength is too great. Players' bodies can only last 1 minute and 30 seconds. The system alarm sounded 3 times in a row. After the notification sound ended, a countdown appeared in Long Fei's mind. 1 minute and 30 seconds. 90 seconds. His current physical body could be said to be extremely strong. With his blood scales, his physical body could withstand the Golden Armor Bodyguard attack, but he could only endure this power for 90 seconds. Then how strong was this power? Long Fei muttered. What happens after time passes? The system did not reply. The power from the dragon-shaped mark replied. Flesh in a powder. Huff. Long Fei let out a small breath. 90 seconds. There are 100 outer space powerhouses here. That's about 1 per second. Haha, I like it. And also at this moment, the 18 great flying swords, lightning intertwined sword, Chi Net, came crashing down ruthlessly, about to land on top of Long Fei's head. Extremely fierce. The flying sword man coldly snorted and said, Trash die. Begin. Ding. Countdown begins. The system sounded out. In that moment, Long Fei also moved. Not a second. Chua. His figure disappeared. Boom. Instantly piercing through the flying sword lightning web, he instantly appeared in front of the flying sword man and grabbed his arm. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. Is it trash now? The flying sword man's pupils began to tremble, not waiting for him to speak. Crack! And also at this moment, the black and white power on Long Fei's body directly rushed into his flesh. Ah! Save me! Save me! His soul was screaming. The primordial spirit howled. A white light could be seen floating around his body. Moreover, in that instant, he was crushed into an integral by a surge of energy. Souls were destroyed together with origin souls. Instant kill. It was a complete instant kill. You really don't even have the chance to become a ghost. The 100 surrounding outer space powerhouse S were all dumbstruck. Zhang Xian was dumbfounded. What kind of power is this? Could it be that this kid has other inheritances in his body? What is it? Heavens, he can even kill a soul or primordial spirit. What kind of evil art does this kid cultivate? Humph, trash. Let me see just how many trash you have in the lower realms. Just as he said the word trash, Long Fei's black and white body suddenly appeared in front of him, and once again, with a flick of his right hand, it pierced straight through his chest. Long Fei's arm was like a spirit body. The powerhouse did not react at all. Looking at his own chest, his eyes revealed a sinister look, his palm directly striking towards Long Fei's forehead. Die. Chua. His body was covered densely in black meridian patterns, as if he had been poisoned. This black meridian also instantly drew out all the energy from his body. Boom. In half a second, the powerhouse turned into charcoal. It was like being burned by a high temperature. Long Fei lightly pulled with his right hand. Crack. Rumble. His entire body was shattered into black powder and disappeared into the void. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing an alien expert for obtaining 1 million experience points and 100,000 spiritual value. F*CK. Nothing exploded? System, aren't you giving me too much face? It's a boss after all. Long Fei disdained in his heart. He then lifted his eyes, swept them across the room, and sinisterly said, "Next. How preposterous. Such arrogance. Let me see how capable you are." Bone endless ghost claw. The ghastly old granny's claws locked onto Long Fei, and the tens of thousands of white bone ghost claw appeared in the air, grabbing towards Long Fei in a split second. Long Fei did not move. Shuanao Bai's eyes lit up slightly. His body was like Buddhist light. Buzz, exploding forth. The tens of thousands of ghost claws in the sky instantly turned into nothingness. Long Fei's lips curved up. "Do you think you can get this daddy to heal your body? Explode for me." Boom! He took a step forward, and with a single move, he killed them all. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Outer Space Powerhouse. Congratulations player Long Fei for obtaining 1 million experience points and spiritual value of 1 million. It was a system beep. Still nothing dropped. Long Fei was puzzled. Big brother system, it's a boss after all. Why don't you just drop something? Even if you don't talk about holy artifact, why not something like that? These outer space powerhouse may not be much in Universal Realm, but this is Songlan continent. They were considered a super boss. Not a single thing. Suddenly, Long Fei thought of a very serious problem. Damn, it's not that we don't want to blow things away, but my power directly turned everything on their bodies into ashes. F*CK. It's not good to have too much strength, right? Sigh. Being too handsome is also a crime. Long Fei looked at the dazed people around him, smirked, and said with a disdainful smile, "Isn't that the 10,000 worlds chasing order? Aren't you chasing after me? Come on. Not coming. Not coming. Then Lousy is here." Chapter 2708. All Must Die. Chapter 2708. All Must Die time is limited, no time to beep. Otherwise, Long Fei would still want to act tough. Moreover, when the time came, the consequences, not a joke. He didn't want to die with his fleshly body destroyed. If he really died, then there would be nothing left. From the Zhenwu continent to the Songlan continent, he had brought 180 billion experience points and reached the great perfection stage in a single day. Once he ascended, he would be able to bring along 10 billion experience into the universal realm. Even if he couldn't level up to 120 levels in a day, 10 billion experience points could at least level up dozens of levels, right? Thus, he had to die. The 10,000 worlds chasing order, the 10,000 worlds death writ, was about the same. The aura on Long Fei's body faintly loosened. Rumble, rumble, chase down your father, God's tribe, Emperor Xian. Today, I will let you know the consequences of chasing after me. Wong, Long Fei's figure disappeared. In that instant, the 100 outer space powerhouses panicked, but they were all people who had experienced great storms, and with their powerful cultivation, they were shocked by the black and white power that suddenly erupted from Long Fei's body and quickly adjusted themselves. We're allied. Let's deal with him together. This kid definitely has other powers of the ancient inheritance stronger. Otherwise, why would the God's tribe issue the strongest killing order? Is the God's tribe hiding something? This boy is a martial artist from a lower realm. It is impossible for him to be so powerful. Let's not talk about that yet. Hurry up. The powerhouse of God's tribe is about to arrive. When they arrive, there will be no more for us. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, powerful auras burst forth. 100 powerhouse instantly formed an alliance, and in that instant, they revealed their weapons. Idea's senses. Highly alert. I can't sense any aura. It's as if he disappeared. Did he escape? Don't relax. He must be here. Silence. It was dead silent, without even a trace of Long Fei's aura in the surroundings. It was as if they had escaped. But even if they fled millions of kilometers, even the entire Songlan continent would not be able to escape the senses of their 100 powerhouses. A few seconds passed. Long Fei still had not appeared. However, there was a white mist. Why is there a fog? Mist? What's going on? There's black fog here. One black and one white. Everyone be careful. Without waiting for him to finish. Crack. Ah, ding. One person turned to ash, instantly killed. The system sounded out. Boom. In the fog, another person let out a blood-curdling scream. Another inskill. The system beep sounded again. Too fast. Moreover, they couldn't even see a shadow of Long Fei. He was just like a ghost. The black-white world. The Jedi domain. In this domain, he was the king, he was the god. Boom, boom, boom. In 20 seconds, over 30 outer space powerhouses were instantly killed, and the remaining tens of people quickly shrank back, all leaning against each other, not daring to disperse. Brat, come out if you dare. You dog, what is a sneak attack? Come out, I'll order with you. Without waiting for him to finish. Crack. His head was cut off by a ray of light the color of Shuana Bai's hair, and his body turned into ashes. In that instant, the surrounding people had also locked on a Long Fei, and the 6 of them attacked together. Let's see how long you can stay alive this time. Boom! Rumble! The 6 most powerful forces. He exploded with full power. Long Fei's body sank. The corner of his mouth slightly lifted, and said, "This is my world. Your strength is like an ant." Ha ha ha! The 6 waves of power struck his body, but Long Fei remained motionless. No damage at all. Ah ha ha! Tremble in my world. Long Fei's body was hidden within the dark mist. The instant his figure disappeared, the vital energy and blood below his chest started to boil, and a mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out. He couldn't hold it in. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Panting heavily, Long Fei looked at his own chest. There were 6 cuts and 6 deep handprints on his chest. Some of the handprints had already turned black and were in extreme pain. Why is this happening? Long Fei did not understand. One had to know that no matter how weak his physical body was, it shouldn't have ended up like this. The power from the dragon-shaped mark said, "Black and white body, all of the power in your body will be used to sustain you for 90 seconds. Your body will not have any form of defense, not even a bit. Any attack, even if it's a mosquito bite, will cause you a great deal of damage. And I have to remind you, you don't have much time left. No defense at all." Long Fei's current physical toughness was still very low. After activating the black and white power, he had to use all of his power to support the opening of the black and white power. Because of this, his defense was basically 0. Long Fei looked at the time and saw that there were only 30 seconds left. Zhang Xian frowned. A light breath. At this time, the power from a dragon-shaped mark said, "Other than these, there is another thing. Even though your body can endure for 90 seconds, but even if you were to retract all of this power 90 seconds ago, your body would still be heavily injured, even if it were to not be turned into dust. Opening the black and white power is the price that your body cannot bear." Long Fei had already thought of this long ago. As long as he could become strong, as long as he could obtain stronger power, as long as he could defeat all these outer space powerhouse, he had nothing to fear. Long Fei nodded and said, "Understood. Now, I want to kill to my heart's content." He focused his mind. Long Fei's black and white eyes were filled with killing intent, as he said in a low voice, "Waha, tremble for me." In that instant, Long Fei's figure turned into a ghost. The remaining powerhouse were all trembling in their hearts. The attack just now did not cause any damage to Long Fei, which made them even more afraid. Adding the dead into the mix, they began to feel the urge to retreat. Whoosh! One powerhouse was very powerful. He wanted to escape through the void. However, not waiting for him to escape. Boom! A powerful force crushed down, instantly killing him. "All of you must die. None of you will escape. All of you must die." Long Fei's voice was like a death sentence. It crushed everyone's minds. Master, it's all because of the orders given by the gods' tribe. We had no choice but to do so. We never thought of killing you. Lord, please be merciful and spare our lives. We swear that we won't dare to do it again. Please spare my life. He was scared. He was terrified. In this black and white fog, it was like they were in hell. Haha. Spare your lives? Is it absolutely possible for you all? Black and white chaos. Domain fission, die for me. The black and white veins on Long Fei's forehead bulged, and all of the energy in his body exploded outwards. In the blink of an eye, there were only a few seconds left. However, within the domain, there was a muffled sound. Chapter 2709. Counterattack Flying Leopard. Chapter 2709. Counterattack Flying Leopard. Buzz. A muffled sound rang out. Fission. The domain within the black and white fog continued to shrink. It was as though an inexhaustible power was crazily ravaging the world. It fiercely squeezed everything within the domain into a tiny grain of sand before exploding into the alternate world. Disappeared. It was also at this time. Space began to crack and shatter. Like a bolt of lightning, the sky exploded. Boom, boom, boom. A mad explosion resounded. The sonic boom of a spatial tear. At this moment, the system's notification sound also exploded in Long Fei's mind. Ding, ding, ding. It was as if a firecracker had been set off. It could not stop at all. It exploded in an instant. The only displeasing thing was that other than experience points, there was nothing else. No one else's *T exploded out. This strength was too ferocious, so much so that all of them were turned into ashes. Long Fei's heart was also incomparably brazen. Black and white power. What kind of power is it? What other power is the dragon-shaped mark hiding? The heck? He's too strong. Just like that, 100 powerhouse from another realm were smashed into pieces. Whoever was killed in an instant. If Long Fei wasn't in Songlan continent now, if he really wanted to fight with Emperor Xian, he felt that he could blast Emperor Xian into pieces. The black and white power made him feel an unprecedented power. Ultimate Quest, 7 means map. A beautiful woman is equivalent to a Dao mission opening. In other words, there are 7 hidden strengths under the dragon-shaped mark. If I can release all 7 of these powers, my God, is the Emperor Xian considered a bird? Universal Realm, what does ancient world count as? This old man will do it all at once. Long Fei felt more and more that the dragon-shaped mark under his right arm was concealing an even stronger power than the entire universal realm. Now, Long Fei only knew that this power was the Nantian Monument, the repression of boundary stones. Other than that, he really did not know if any other force could contend against it. The first force was given by Yurong. The second path. Long Fei's mind tensed up. Leopard girl. Right. Also at this moment, the countdown inside Long Fei's body came to an end. Ding. System notification. Black and white power time is over. Boom! Without waiting for Long Fei to retrieve it himself, the black and white power was instantly extracted and he returned to the dragon-shaped Mark S. The powerful voice shouted, "You have to resist!" As soon as he finished. In that moment, Long Fei felt as if his soul was going to rush out of his body. It was like 1,000 AK-47 shots aimed at his body. Bam! 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 All the blood vessels in his body continuously ruptured, and in half a second, Long Fei's entire body became a bloody person, with fresh blood dripping all over his hair. High in the sky, Long Fei simply could not control it at all, and was in so much pain that he could not control it. Not to mention controlling it, his body continued to spin as he fell from the air. Whoosh, 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 asterisk, whoosh, 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 asterisk, whoosh, 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 asterisk, bleed all over. An indescribable discomfort. That powerful voice was heavy as he said, "You have to endure it. You have to endure it or else. Otherwise. He did not continue. If he couldn't withstand it, if his fleshly body died, everything will start again. However, at that time, it would not be Long Fei anymore, because if he were to die with his flesh body, it would mean that he had failed the mission, which meant that he was not suitable for the mission. He couldn't save what the system's owner wanted to save. The system would not appear out of nowhere and innocently. Similarly, it did not exist as a bug, but a quest. Everything that Long Fei had experienced seemed like he was walking with his life on the line, but however, basically, all of them would only leave after following the instructions set by the system. Death here, then he would fail. They would be killed. Possession does not exist. The reason why Black and White did not say anything was that he had failed before. He was well aware of the consequences. Long Fei was unable to reply. Falling tens of thousands of meters from the ground, he was already in so much pain that he had fainted. Songlan continent. The spirals in the sky all disappeared. Many people could not see what happened 10 kilometers up in the sky, but the peaked Songlan continent could see it. It was too terrifying. In front of these outer space powerhouses, they were like a speck of dust. And those outer space powerhouses were like ants in front of Long Fei. It was too valiant. Seeing Long Fei falling from the sky, the slovenly old man's incomparably shocked expression changed. Damn it. He rushed up into the sky, thinking to himself, "Brat, don't let anything happen to you. If you die, I really won't be able to explain it to Immortal Master Lu Yuan. Don't die. Please don't die." Rumble. In midair, the slovenly old man received Long Fei, looked at Long Fei, who seemed to have been scooped out of a pool of blood, and tightly furrowed his brows. Didn't he win? Nothing in his body was good. Every pore, every millimeter of the body is a wound. Nor did Ling Qi. This kind of injury would cause one to tremble in fear and feel incomparable pain at the sight of it. Hoo. Bring me to the peak of the Azure Dragon. Long Fei's aura was incredibly weak. However, he was still thinking about the leper girl. During the course of the day, a wild figure would always appear in Long Fei's mind, shuttling through the forest. His body was wrapped in leopard skin, and he had a long ponytail. The javelin was in his hand. Simple. I like to laugh. Furthermore, in that scene, she kept calling out to her husband. Who is she? But Long Fei didn't know. He firmly believed that this must have something to do with his previous life. He let the leopard girl wait at the peak of the blue mist. He promised to take her out of the Songlan continent and let her enter the universal realm. The slovenly old man added, Yes. I'll go to the peak of the blue mist now and release the power of the flying into the virtual. Kid, you can't die. I will definitely send you to the universal realm. Long Fei did not speak. He didn't have the strength to speak. A few minutes later, boom, the slovenly old man brought Long Fei and landed on the peak of the blue mist. The leopard girl also ran up. Long Fei revealed his blood-stained teeth and gently smiled. I said I would bring you away from here. The leopard girl was moved. She gently shook her head as tears welled up in the corners of her eyes. The slovenly old man continued, Prepare yourself. I want to draw upon the power of the flying into the virtual. There's only one chance. The slovenly old man said seriously. Long Fei smiled lightly as he looked at the leopard girl. Did you hear that clearly? The slovenly old man continued. I can only send you to the universal realm, and not the two of you. Long Fei said strenuously. I know. Besides, I won't let you sacrifice yourself to help me. I use my own strength. As soon as he finished, Long Fei suddenly stood up. The idea moved. Activate the power of the flying into the virtual. Thank you for your support. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.